Hi, I am Magnetic Girl. Watch the full video.
Just as you heard when you arrived, Border Town will provide you with 3 things somewhere to stay, which resists the cold wind and blocks the snow, ample food that will allow you to fill your belly, and even numerous reasonably paid jobs. I'm here to tell you all that these are real. The house is made of thick clay without the slightest crack for the wind to enter. A charcoal stove lies underneath the bed. When you sleep on it is as comfortable as lying on a meadow warmed the summer sun. As long as the door and windows are closed, you won't feel even the slightest bit of chill, even if you are wearing the thinnest clothes. Non-com, the food is wheat porridge accompanied meat jerky. When you scoop it up you will be able to see the grains wheat falling downwards drop. When you put them into your mouth, the rich viscosity will slow their descent into your stomach. Just one bowl alone will fill you to the brim. Thought that His Highness was going to talk about power and obedience, but instead he took the people's point of view and described his promise through necessities. It was obvious looking at the rapt expression on the refugees that his words had moved their heart. Wish is for all the citizens under rule to live out happy lives where they do not have to worry about necessities. However, the enemies hidden in the shadows are not willing to see such a sight. Those beasts rushing out earlier were undoubtedly sent out. Their movie is very simple. They do not wish to see me alone, nor do they wish to let citizens lead comfortable lives. Viacom if disappear. Would another feudal lord provide you with warm housing and delicious food? I'm sure everyone understands this point clearly. The answer is also clear from what you have experienced thus far. There is no one except myself who's willing to do this in order to prevent such a surprise attack from happening again. We will have to conduct the inspection again. This time, personal guard shall personally take charge of conducting the body check. We shall definitely not give the enemy any chance to destroy what we have here. Your Highness is right. As expected of His Royal Highness, just a few sentences were able to eliminate the imminent chaos. From what heard, you were Aloetic, the first person to discover the problem. Am right? Follow me. Highness wishes to see you. Very keen observation. Vader analog. Are you really just an ordinary civilian before? Not. Your Highness once served on the patrol of Jin's city and worked for roughly 6 years until a large group of pirates raided Jin's city. However, in your it once clearly stated that you have any personal strength. Asked Carter. He said that you're still staying in the temporary residential area. In other words, you concealed your experience when City Hall was initially trying to keep track of people entering Border Town when there wasn't any need for you to do so. Was able to come to Border Town alone because a prisoner named Kumasi from Jin's city came to rescue in a critical moment. Now he cannot pass the registration of the City Hall because of his status as a prisoner, but when he is getting older, not only will it be difficult to take care of himself, but he may also be bullied. Cannot leave him alone in the West End. So you want to be a policeman? Are you thinking of giving him some extra benefits when you're out on patrol in the future? Don't worry, you haven't done it yet. Just thinking about it won't get you in trouble. Do you have a family? They lost their lives in the raid in Jin's city. How about Kumasi? He probably doesn't have any. If he had any, the street rats wouldn't have chosen him scapegoat. Generally, mice pick helpless guys to pay for them. As long as one possess a special ability, they will all get priority for the right to a small residence. Furthermore, they will receive an identification certificate from the City Hall and enjoy all of the rights of citizens. This offer naturally extends to their family members as well. You should understand what mean. Do you agree to let me have Kumasi _ bring the old man along to the City Hall for registration? They will arrange everything for you. Thank you, Your Highness. Carter, go and help him up. Don't relax, keep this vigilance today. If you fail the follow-up assessment, even if you become a family member, you will still have to stay in the temporary residence for the time being. Loco. Understood. Your Highness, speaking of assessment, during the first test there were a lot of questions. Did not no answers for and answers were all confused. Did you still choose me because there were no correct answers to begin with? The answers themselves are different for every individual. What's more, the key point of this test wasn't in the answers. Instead, they were used to assess the candidates' reading and writing abilities. As long as they understand the topic and articulate their ideas, they will pass the test. Your Highness, do you have any idea who sent those people here, yeah? A disciple named Seen under Lord Baron was responsible for going to the north to win over refugees due to lack of ships on the way back. Contacted friends new in Wang holding near. Help inquire or hire some merchant ships willing to go to the west. The news should have leaked out. From here he placed the refugees in Silver City, only half a day away from the royal capital. But it was not difficult for time to get involved, Your Highness. Although he dare not send a large army to leave the capital easily now, it does not mean that he will not alchaic retaliate against you. Fortunately, these assailants who mixed into the crowd only carried pills not covered with gunpowder. Otherwise, if it detonates in the crowd, the 2 months of effort will be wasted. Considering that Salem made this mistake because of lack of experience rather than subjective dereliction of duty. Handle it lightly. He was fined 2 months of salary. After this lesson he must be able to grow quickly. As for the review checkpoints for wooing refugees in the future, we must keep an eye on them. Will let Save and Nightingale assist you. Don't let of any spies and assassins while ensuring the safety of other refugees. Yes, Your Highness. Go. The Hawkeye is back. Calico, really? Ike. Your Highness, I'm back. Glad, and Guy, don't forget about me. You really have harmonious relationship with them. You want to hug your big brother to no thanks. Can still clearly remember that time you lifted me up and then dropped me on the grounder. This Al.com, is she the person that you rescued from the stone tower? God, wearing such a gorgeous dress, it must be an orange outfit. Is she still alien, yeah? But the magic in her body has been depleted. It seems similar to Annal's condition back when her reached adulthood, but unlike Anna, the recovery speed of her magic is unusually slow at this rate. She might need 3 to 4 days before she returns to normal. In that case, we'll let her sleep properly. We'll tidy up a room on the 3rd floor of the castle for her to rest. The others should return to the ALO LMICO hall. First, want to hear the story of your travels. This is how it happened. Although Sylvie provided a full picture, it was still a very dangerous thing to go deep into the ground to chase a huge evil beast that had never seen before. I'm afraid would hesitate unexpectedly. Till was so decisive that she selected a suitable candidate in a short time and led the team to. It can only be said that she became the leader of many witches, not only because of the identity of the 5 queens. Alarm sheast. At the time, did you think that this earth-drilling worm had something to do with the devils? Don't know. But it's not impossible. They are completely different from demons. And they may be another evil beast, so isn't it possible to surmise that devils and demonic beasts have a subordinate relationship, just like that of humans and hounds? Can they may have some method of making these monsters obey their orders and compel them to complete a few fairly problematic tasks? It feels like this is indeed the case, but if the devil is limited the red fog and cannot quickly occupy the entire barren land and drive mankind out of the mainland completely, then they can continue to send evil beasts to harass the 4 kingdoms instead of waiting until winter to act. Moreover, last year's performance Alfalfa Cod of the evil moon wolf lion hybrid was already unattainable. Other creatures, if Gao can gain intelligence because he lies for long time, he cannot be tamed. Another race think that the enemy Nightingale encountered outside the stone tower is more concerning than the evil beasts underground. It was able to conceal itself in broad daylight and moved so silently it's practically impossible to defend against its. Pity we know too little about demonic beasts, have no idea how to handle such a terrifying enemy. If Nightingale had not witnessed it with her own eyes, would not believe that such demonic beasts really exist. But it seems they have never appeared at the western border. Otherwise, if just a few of them came every winter, Long Song Alonzo stronghold would have long turned to ruins. But as the months of demons grow longer, the demonic beasts grow stronger. This is the conclusion reached the history books. This time the first snowfall began in autumn, so the enemy we face may be very formidable. Ins, is it? JAOAWNCOM fanboy let. Then we can only leave the surveillance of the perimeters to Nightingale and Soviet as long as you Stay in the castle, you can observe the entire city wall area when as evil beast is found. Other witches can also be notified immediately. Alkalic. That witch. Still have the same opinion as before, along as her identity has yet to be confirmed. She could very well be an enemy. No witches will have her wear a god's stone of retaliation for the time being. Hopefully this won't cause her to misunderstand us. Your Highness, how is she? Al.com. Tail Anna and Lily both used abilities once but still did not respond. We can only wait. Is that so? It was incredible that she was frozen for so long, yet not a single trace of that remains. It's really incredible. It's similar to how Don't Fear Any Flames. Her ability must be more related to this. Heard that you were the one who opened the ice coffin. You're amazing. Anna can't take all the credit. This witch uses her abilities very cleverly in this regard. She must have reached a very high level. She first used cold ice at an extremely low temperature to completely stop all circulation in her body. Then used ice crystals that were close to room temperature to fully seal the cold ice inside to prevent it from thawing. Just as cut into the outer layer of ice crystals, the entire ice coffin was immediately torn apart as if it was a flaw she had left deliberately. JLOALMCOMO. So think she had anticipated that there would be 6 days. What do you mean? She will definitely wake up. Master, the city walls have been breached. Afraid the allied armies won't be able to endure for much longer. Let's leave quickly. Can also fight. Let me got world com lingua car help. A's crazy, still afraid. Roaring. Al.com. Fastest. Let got not you are far more important than them. You can't, but as one of the witches of the holy city. Even if you die in the end, you should die on the battlefield. You go get out of here. She is _AAA. Slalom redeems, hails the samurai of the Federation beyond the extraordinary. Karimi. Al.com. Easiest. Harch. You guys go. Aramco, leave me alone here. Go away. Take advantage of the moment and quickly leave this place. But Milady, where can we got? Even this last holy city did not resist the devil's attack. Yes, tens of thousands of people died. All means exhausted. Bloom fast. We also failed to save the other. Do not give up. We still have hope. We'll head over the mountain and across the river to the desolate lands. We can always re-establish the order. As long as we can survive, there will surely come a day when we triumph. Recast order. Madam, we have to hurry. Eat. Even the most prosperous holy city on the fertile plain is like children spending a whole afternoon building a sandcastle in the opposite direction. Back be attributed. Chaos and disorder again. Escape. Alarm. All temporary evacuation and escape. Can it really stop the devil's pace? But the words of Master Awards always echoed in mind. Madam, over there is Janzang Forest Ski River Hash. As long as it survives, we'll definitely see the day of victory. Balance Ancona Canal. Then the important documents and magic stones left inside the experimental lab. In the concealing forest, it is very important. Vow. Each to this end we can only grit our teeth. Or alarm. Head down. Let's got. There is widespread belief in the holy city that witches are chosen gods, mortal who cannot condense magic, or ignorant and incompetent. But they are the soil for cultivating us. Got. But from this captain of the imperial bodyguards. Hurry up. Go to the forest. Al.com. AOLNBA. Not only full of courage and tenacity, but also a side that witches can't reach. Read at loaliven.com to Viacom CE. Support the translation team. Die here. Either A. Must bring out the research results over the mountains. Aloalicom. Deb across the river. Go to that barren land to restore order. Even slalom OE. Even if it would break bones. C. Also want. D. Dozed I. Pass this voice down. I. Room. All Balcoa did die. That light is so dazzling. Maloa LMCOMC. Huh. Ah, Your Highness, she woke up. What happened? Your Highness, Noah, she really woke up. What an old title. Alarm. She finally awake. How do you feel? Where am? Jacob yelled. Bordertown, Kingdom of Green Castles, Western Territory. Am Roland Wimbledon, the 4th Prince of the Kingdom of Greencastle as well as the feudal lord of Border Town. Roland Wimbledon. These girls are members of the Witch Union. Wait, you can't move yet. You? Do you not remember anything? Things currently look to be developing in the direction least want to see. Unknown place, unknown time, unknown person et alia Cod Witch Union. So their witches don't know what kind of new organization this is, but at least we're alike. But do they look like subordinates of this man? Wait. A prince want this one of the titles used in the secular regime during the First War of God's Will. Over 400 years ago. Black could it be? Did return to a time before the start of the Great War. Could the gods have possibly given me another chance to start over to make preparations to rescue the holy city and its people? Not, it's impossible, it's ridiculous. Your Highness, she seems to be a little confused. Viacom, yes, eyes. Were you the ones who saved me? Have the devils withdrawn already? Have we? Won't the holy city, _ what happened to the holy city of Tail? What Jaloancom duty? Bellone. This. We really did find you in the basement of a stone tower. Are you truly someone from 450 years ago? Although you don't care about status and inferiority, always feel offended being stared at inferior people. If they were replaced a caregiver, they would be severely punished in all likelihood. Name is Agatha, a witch of the Tail Exploration Society. Alfalfa Comtail. You just, what do you mean? 450 years ago? Don't tell me. Have you been fighting with the devils for over 400 years? You've slept for a very long time. Things might be a little different from what you imagine. Once if you think it won't be a burden to your body, we can fill you in slowly. Go ahead. As said, the town where we are is in Border Town. It is located in the west of Greencastle. One of the four kingdoms. Non-com propose Rouse. The so-called four kingdoms are just one of the former wild lands. In our eyes there is no development value. Also kings and nobles. It's complete the old stuff. Before the first battle of divine will witches be hunted? Mortals who have the guts to do this. Avoalm com. This. The stone of God's punishment. Are you crazy? You would go so far as to help a regular person suppress a high-ranked witch, violating the Federation's prohibition on unauthorized use of a god's stone of retaliation. This was what was worried about. Don't worry, go and talk to her. Name is Wendy. You see, things aren't really you believe them to be. Not only as don't know what all he said true, the holy city you lied in 450 years ago was like, but now have never heard about the Federation you spoke of. Either we witches are always spending our days in hiding as we have been until we met Prince Roland. He gave us safe place to stay, encouraged us to use our powers, and at the same time researched ways on how to make use of our abilities to transform the world. Here we can live completely free, just like a normal person. There is no need to hide and is no need to worry about being hunted, the church or people. You must know that nowadays G Ocean or everywhere Alfalfa com, a witch that loses her powers is no stronger than a normal person. The Federation was a large organization established jointly. Several witch kingdoms with many high-ranked witches and witch extraordinary. In order to win the war of God's will, and the Federation formed a colossal army while incorporating every holy city into the fold at the same time, responsible for training and dispatching witches, resolving disputes and maintaining the stability and public order of the city. Yet somehow in organization that powerful had declined so much that no one knew of its reputation. Nowadays those refugees who wanted to re-establish order, where are they now? Elwood. Drink this and you'll feel better. Although you couldn't understand, these witches were wary of me. But if you want to untie the stone foot ring of God's punishment, must first gain their trust. As for the credibility of what the prince and Wendy said, it must be confirmed. Eyes. As said, name is Agatha and was a member of Tequila Secret Society in the 5th year of the Battle of Mine Will Tequila. The last holy city fell down in the war. Most people went into exile while went to the misty forest to fetch things. We left their coach lawful past. Wait, were you fighting against the devil? Who else could be fighting against them other than us? Should we rely on vulnerable humans like you? Were you a witch raised the church? Never heard of anything about the church. All the holy cities which hosted tens of thousands of people were created witches. Apart from witches, most of the Citizens were ordinary people like you. They were responsible for reproducing and raising children until their magic power was awakened, and then Norm Repel 10, these young witches would be handed over to another special department to receive education and training. Of course, the witches who were good at fighting would join the union and participate in battles with devil. Can you understand what is written above? This is a diary from which acid do you use this kind of text created the Federation in order to be separated from the text used ordinary people in this way. The ordinary human beings would be prevented from participating in important affairs at upper level, but in opinion didn't think this sort of exclusion was good idea. It takes magic power to read. If it isn't very difficult, can teach you since you're a witch. Language is tool for communication, the more popular it is the better, so what the union did was very stupid. The exclusion of ordinary people would only limit the resources available to you. In fact, after training and education, ordinary people are capable for many positions, jobs, except for no magic. They will not be much worse. Although you can accept collaboration with ordinary people without magic, but still don't like them gesticulating. Even the chief guard of family is more polite than the so-called Prince Miss Agatha. Have you ever heard the name of Alcalis? Notes: the name Alcalis is Alice in How Come You Know This name? Pom Pom Ilgoag Susan. Want it said that all the records about years ago had been lost. This ancient book in your hand was found in the East Border Forest. Her name is on the last page, written in ordinary people's right. Alcalis was the queen of the meteor-fallen Start City, as well as one of the three chiefs in the Union. She was an extraordinary or a transcendent. Even among the many saints in the Federation, she was also the strongest transcendent. Since these records have been lost, it's natural for you all knowing nothing about it. But this is not the end of ability. Through self-understanding, feeling and practice, there are very few lucky ones who can go a step further and make their abilities incredibly strengthened. We often call it the high awakening. In fact, there's no limit for their awakenings or growth rate. But obvious changes could be observed on the performance of Aramco, their magic power. Hump is this ability evolution. In total 4 witches have evolved in the witch union. For how many witches are there in your witch union exactly? More than 10. Allo Alvmacon, stop talking nonsense. Do you mean 4 out of 10 have undergone the high awakening? You have no idea what evolution means for witches. It's totally different Alarcon from the consolidation or derivative skills on the day of adulthood. Only the luckiest ones can be promoted, which takes both perspiration and inspiration. Ahem. Anna. She was extraordinarily good looking even among all the witches. But she was too young and maybe just had her adulthood. It was impossible for her to accumulate enough experience in training, meditation and enlightening. Xiaoam Konk Fei Fry. It's the ability to control the flame, a common type of the summoning capabilities which can be ranked. The maximum temperature and the heating rate. The one who can eject the flame are regarded as a combat witch. This is consolidated skill she mastered on the day of adulthood. And you'll see her most important skill soon. Jalisco flies, is it not? It can't be a consolidated skill. If it were, the flame should be hotter and the heart of the flame should be bigger and brighter. Wait. This. Well, does this count as high awakening? How could this be? Aramco Lux, the holy city, had been forgotten. And the Union had been destroyed. There was nowhere for the witches to receive training and guidance. So it was only logical that the witches' abilities declined. A newly matured witch had received 2 promotions. This couldn't be explained luck after all. Even in the Union, the home of geniuses, a witch like this was still very rare, was advanced when was and can be regarded as an outstanding genius in the Union. And if heard correctly, there are 3 other people who are like Anna. Top KOPE. What is his background and is he so lucky? Glowworm 1. This should count as high awakening, but don't have the stone of measuring, so can't measure her change in skills. Is want to ask if May, what did Anna experience during her awakening? Did you actually use honorifics via comred at allo11.com to the first time was support meal? Because of the translation team depletion of magic power when fighting against evil beast. The second time think it was because learning knowledge. What kind of knowledge? Ahem. This can be Discussed later. Now let's get back to the topic we were discussing earlier. What does Alice an experiment of God's punishment army exactly mean? Zalo Aimcom, this guy is still very rude. Alice was very powerful. With the help of God's stone of retaliation she wouldn't be defeated even. Faced with several lords of hell, however, there were too few transcendental. Put differently, the note Alice is like Ash, lack of diversity in, but the difference between them is that Alice knows our ability led to how to use magic. Think our defeat. Density. That's right, witch wouldn't know what kind of ability she would have before awakening, but according to the Union's calculations, only of all the witches were fit for combat. The same ratio could be applied to extraordinary witches as to what the ratio was of combat witches that were actually promoted. No one knew time when not a single witch was promoted non-com within years, thus actually the fighting ability of the Union was very unstable. Mortals may not be able to awaken, the awakened may not be good at combat, and combat experience doesn't necessarily lead to capability. Is this what you mean? That's about right. So we formed a guard platoon composed of mortals to compensate for the witches' number shortage. But mortals could not defeat demons even equipped with God's stones of retaliation. They were still far from being able to fight against the mighty mad demon. Linger this unfavorable situation, Alice ordered the Quest Society to research warriors that could break through the limits of the human body. Judging from this scrawled note, it seemed that she had succeeded. Seemed. Didn't you say that you were a member of the Quest for Society? Indeed, but ever since the order was issued left the Tequila Quest Society and began to build own lab in the misty forest Alamo. They quickly found the solution, which was to unite witches and mortals' force with the help of God's stone of retaliation. But this process required them to consume the witches' lives. Cannot accept this kind of experimentation. Believed that the Quest Society should focus on exploring the use of God's stone of retaliation rather than using witches as consumable resources. Roamed La. Using witches as consumable resources, this is too. Alice was also helpless at that time. Tequila was on the verge of destruction. But now the Union has vanished into thin air. It proves that this approach won't able to proceed and probably won't ever appear again. Alo Alncom. However, the God Punishment Army still exist. What did you just say? I'm not sure whether this is a mere coincidence. The church, the organization route never heard of. They established 2 cities in the middle of the impassable mountain range. Those cities were named holy cities. The hunting of witches was also initiated them. What's more, they also searched for orphans and street urchins and brought them back to the monastery of the holy city. Wendy was one of them who had escaped. The church had its own army and territory. Its most powerful warriors were from the God's Punishment Army. Those monsters who had lost their sanity had infinite strength and were almost as mighty as Vitadao Doina witches. And their numbers were absolutely not few. Apart from that non-com, they might even have owned a number of powerful witches, which why temporarily sealed your ability with the God's Locket of Retribution. Before you told us this, we always thought the holy city of Tail was established in the wilderness. The church is the one who fought against the devil, and the remains are also left the church. This is an organization composed of mortals took away the most important secrets of the Union, hunting witches, and built God's Punishment Army to consolidate its rule. So God's Punishment Army didn't vanish but fell into the hands of an organization that hate switches. What on earth did the members of the Union do? Analog. Let's call it a day. Have a good night's sleep. Rest assured that we will find out the reason. Jaloim CMC, we will leave first. Solid. Don't worry if you have anything you need to tell me anytime. Miss Agatha, you are wrong about one thing. Enabled her mortals can defeat devil beast Jaworn Com. How is she? AFLUCZTHZ Suity Fly Uxrurts. She's fallen asleep. She had a bowl of oatmeal. It seems that she had a good appetite now. Sylvie is watching her al.com reading. Well, that's not bad. Do you believe what she said? With the God's Stone of Retaliation being removed, you can easily judge if she is lying when you question her tomorrow, but think most of what she said is true. Theoretically, such a situation would be almost impossible for two territories unless these two separated. The territories were impassable, of the same origin mountain range, and had frequent contact. That's the point. Don't know what the scene was like years ago. The age of the major cities was generally between an years, and astrologers also came into existence during that era. It had always bewildered me that the astrologers, who generally had no achievements nor research findings, were also called sages, the same as alchemists now think give got answer. The Union fled to this borderland and brought with them the survivors, their language and civilization. These people mangled with the locals and helped the latter build the regime fortress and city. It sounds like you have seen it with your own eyes. If you guess wrong, give me an extra luxurious lunch tomorrow. Equals so did you guess wrong? Diced abuse tilde use it. Whatever you want aboard. We'll bear that in. Our exbuius subades studied tilde u tilde sustides vz easy aboard bud taxes bratebua ni sweet. AA underscore utsanshkuds and underscore bs midort best ss and alua tus tutsashua now still have a lot of things to sort out. The devil underscore the magic stone. The intelligence that Agatha said is too much information. Submit. Fauna Ursuline Jewel Tetutus v utiaid ruder susterdisoids I tutfg. Hugh Bobele puts tilde suts tad runti anspert u tilde sutastate are tilde eun bohemian. That witch seems to dislike you. After all, she used to one in a world where the witches were considered superior to the human being. Afraid I'm just no different from the roadside weeds in her eyes. Don't you hate her? Would I? She is nothing but a poor woman, abandoned her own time. She'd been sleeping in the frozen coffin for years and woke up to find the world had completely changed. The strangeness brought the new world would bring her fear. It was no surprise that she would build a defensive wall in her heart. So, after she accepts all this, she will probably gradually change her point of very slalom. See? What a typical response of yours. Rest assured won't allow her to offend you in any way. It seems that the prince didn't play any tricks. It gave me a certain degree of freedom. So quiet in Tequila, this kind of evening didn't even exist, since the whole city would celebrate every day of winter. After all, it is good season for witches awaken, and the whole market will be lit up all night to raise fire. The Union died, and the witch became the devil's minions. Mortals were recklessly hunting witches with the help of God's stones of retaliation. Alo Almancom. What on earth happened at that time were the two transcendent defeated mortals? Aren't you cold? Alo Ancom. The door was closed and didn't hear any footsteps. Is this her witch ability? It's late in the midnight. What's she up to? Alo Almancom. Nice to meet you. Oops, it the second time that we meet. Name is Nightingale. Second time. Did you hide among them before? Is this your ability, or you also the high awakened? You are talking about evolution. Underscore I'm not that smart like Anna. She finished the book called The Theory of Natural Alabama in a short time. Head is going to explode once see those formulas and theorems. Maybe don't have the luck to evolve in this life. Alo Alincom. As for the book you mentioned, can read it. Of course. You may read it as long as you join the Witch Union and be loyal to His Highness to serve a mortal. Thought was weird enough. But you are crazier than me. Weird crazy. Would you say that in the holy city of Tequila most of the awakened witches only treat ordinary people who couldn't gather magic as humble servants, inferior people, fertility tools, or but didn't think so? Even though they were stupid, they weren't hopeless. Those people were no different from witches in many aspects, as long as they were taught to learn and think. Because of that, many people thought that was so weird that had allocated part of the business in the tower to mortals. Didn't expect that. You are crazier than me, since you are loyal to a mortal and take orders from him. His Highness Roland didn't consider us as servants. Don't know what kind of strange idea you have on the word of loyalty. The fact is that he took in the witches, oppressed the church, gave us new power, and let us one together with his subjects in Western region. We are limited to fight against the church and demonic beasts, as well as Al-Kalngom against the demons in the future. But this model was proved to be a failure. The first battle of divine will yearn ago, the world was ruled both mortals and witches at That time human beings lied almost throughout the entire Dawn region, however, when demons attacked. We suffered such a big defeat that we only managed to keep the fertile plains. Oh. Was that true? According to the minions records, the third battle of divine will is about to break out very soon. Yet you have no idea of demons only rebuilding the union, uniting witches and improving the probability of high awakening with knowledge. It is possible to seize the final chance to stop demons' attack. Do you have to say that? What do you mean years have passed? Right, a lot of things could be changed in such a long time, but are you still DCCTD, aren't teach? His Highness said that mortals could defeat demons when he left. You heard that as well. He is also uniting all the people including witches. He wants to unite every ordinary person on the continent. He told me that people across. We still have a lot of time, so not open your heart and to see with your own eyes. I can see that you don't like me. The witches of the Quest Association used to see me like that as well after they knew that had appointed a group of mortals as experimental assistants in the tower. Obviously you don't like me. But do you tell me these don't hate you as long as you stop being so arrogant and treat His Highness normally? As for your question, because the prince said he didn't want to see you abandon the times. At present the ice field has temporarily calmed down. And the snow has also weakened a lot, but compared to the loss of the god's punishment army, the time node represented the hell horror should arouse our attention. Your Holiness, hope you will show us the way forward. Rise, child, come to me. Yes, Your Holiness. Your Holiness, please take care your body of. No need going to die soon. Your Holiness, you aren't. Not listen to me, child. Understand the condition of own body and without question time is soon up. The purpose of calling you here today is to pass on the Pope's position to you. The roof is made of an extremely thick mixture of slab and clay which is impossible to break through using conventional methods. Is such a design necessary in order to keep the secret but not to completely bury the secret? Al nom, before a pope ascends the throne he must come to the Church of Reflection under the old Holy City. Development and expansion of the church, and at the same time learn heart the goals of the church to defeat the demons, not child. Aloha to win the smile of God. What, they're only allowed to send me thus far? From here on you have to push me into the room. Yes. Your Holiness. Al-Kalngom. Read at Altaic support EE plus does the translation team. You found me. This portrait was completed half a year ago. At that time didn't look quite as old as do now, and Al-Kalincom, hence it's relatively good looking. The portrait should only be hung up after death. Blame it on impatience for wanted to see how looked on the portrait earlier than should. Your Holiness, these are, yes, they're the noble pioneers, the supreme pontiffs of old. As the highest leaders of the church they have always regarded themselves the spokesperson of gods. Well, let's continue moving forward and I'll introduce them to you. Aloalincom. Generation after generation they struggled in the torrent of time, ups and downs, extinguished. You and will eventually be the same. Alkalincom, Your Holiness, this is, They are also the popes of the church. Aloalivnicom. God is above. Aloalvancom, what an extraordinary woman she is. She's Alice the first pope and a transcendent. Non-com. Read at aloalivan.com to support the translation team. Al-Kalncom, she also has a nickname, the Queen of Witches, was the founder of the Kneel and pay respect, child. Il Leto, see everything that you wish to know later. 0 here. Aloal nom, take him to the illusion room. Yes, Your Holiness. Unexpectedly. There will be pure people in such a secret place. Although they were all brought up the Pope after they awakened and served under the holiness of their lifelong service, but after all it is witched. We. Aloalincom, Your Holiness, please excuse, take it. Al-Kalncom. Maybe you will keep this spa from now on. You may use it to open the library of the Total Secret Temple or the secret door of the research office. Let's go. Al-Kalnchem. Aloalincom. Al-Kalincom, did His Highness allow you to enter? If you don't come with you, who's going to activate the Stone of Illusion? It's not like you have driving power. It seems that she still regards herself as His Holiness Obrian Switch. After receive the scepter and take control of the church's domain, must absolutely let her understand that. Respect the Pope but also the Archbishop who has heirship allo alncom, so let's get started. Yes Lord. But please be prepared, for this is the first time I'm activating this thing. The first time hasn't. She lived for over 200 years. Did she participates in the previous papal handover ceremonies allo alncom. The walls, floor and the stone bench disappear from sight. It seemed that it was not transferred to a new basement. But the power of the magic stone swallowed all the light here. This is _alkaline CQM everyone. The God Punishment Army experiment has been successful. Read at allo alien.com. To a piece support the translation team. Thanks to Master Alice decision. When facing the crazy demons and hell lords who drive the magic stone battle anal yon. We already have a great advantage. Gloalncom. Advantage all dalmcom. The incarnation ceremony consumes witches lives and give heard that not everyone can be successfully transformed. These are insignificant details. Believe that with the continuation of the research the quest society will be able to remedy this. Don't put it so lightly. We are a minority and every witch is precious. What's the difference between in the demon's hands and dying in the ceremony? At least with the latter a contribution is made to the union prior to death. What are you saying? Enough. Yes. Lord Alice. ALCM mortals cannot defeat the demon's sisters. We can choose to do nothing but simply enjoy this final moment of peace, and when the next invasion of the demons arrives, well, be completely consigned to history. We can choose to put up a final fight, placing our hopes in the God's punishment warriors and make necessary sacrifices for them. Although the Queen of Starfall City willing to allow you to make this important choice, do you want to give up the resistance and die in peace? Do you want to avenge our dead sisters, chase the demons out of the Dawn region and restore the past glory of witches? It's entirely up to you. Of course none of us is able to directly participate in the third battle of divine will, hence no matter which choice we make, we can live out our transient lives peacefully. Slalom. Remember, the choice which you make now isn't only for yourselves but for the whole group of witches, for our future sisters to still be able to see God's smile. Original. It turned out to be such a thing. The transformation ritual of God's punishment army turned out to be invented. A witch. Those who don't agree, please stand up now. In order to defeat the devil, they do not hesitate to sacrifice their own kind. How many people will stand up on Jallo Alacom the spot and reprimand her for her ruthlessness? How ironic, having killed so many witches with her own hands, she can still talk about it being for the continuation of witches. Is there anything more ridiculous than this? But she was right. We are born out of mortals after all, and when all mankind perishes, witches no longer exist. Slalom. Rest. Yes. On other hand, no matter how many witches are sacrificed in the incarnation ceremony, there always be new witches to replace them. The more mortals there are, the more witches there be. That's right, but will the God's punishment army will defeat the demons? This don't know. JLOALMCOMC. Before we, nobody really knows. The defeats in the previous two battles of divine will have already shown that the demons are way stronger than us, and the only way for us to restrict their actions is to use the red mist. This implies that even if we create many God's punishment warriors, it's uncertain that we'll secure the final victory. All Kalincom, but you should be familiar with how do things. Even if there's only a small chance, we must our best. Master Alice willing to follow you wherever we don't want to admit defeat. Please let us follow you. Allo Almcom. Real. Hopefully you're right. So it's decided what we to do now is to convince the other members of the union grown-ups. They won't necessarily listen to you if we're to carry out the incarnation without resistance. The witches cannot continue to act in an slalom hideous superior and privileged position. The union must be disbanded, and the past must be completely buried. Do best to convince them. If they aren't able to accept it, Starfall City will carry out this plan alone, and a new order will be made. This Cloclinsim. It turned out to be like this. All Dalvcom. What Bishop back at Mbako. You look a little tired, shall carry you outside, not you go and open the door, yes. Slalom, your holiness. It's not quite right. Alison, after the magic stone was actuated, the scene was automatically mapped into your mind, hence. Feeling discomfort is perfectly normal. The first time came into contact with these had the same reaction as you. You will be fine after a short rest. Didn't have any problems. Because you're a witch, thus your body has long been used to the operation of magic power, whether in terms of endurance or resistance. Witches are universally far palmitic superior to mortals, your holiness. This is the church's origin. Yes, after this Alice led the witches of Starfall City and 2 other cities into battle, eventually emerging victorious, and laid down a new set of rules. No longer the chosen ones, but instead became the evil ones who were lured into degeneration. Demons. This war lasted for nearly 100 years and is known in the history books as the Battle of Faiths. Did she live for that long? Not long after Alice established the church, she perished along with another transcendent. The second pope inherited her will and continued to lead the army into battle until they completely subdued 2 other factions. Slalom. It is credible that this battle badly damaged the 3 cities, and they virtually lost control over the world. Mortals who were unwilling to participate in the battle began to settle down in this narrow strait and led the indigene to cultivate the land. Gradually this became what is now the 4 kingdoms. Although the church has cleaned up those remnants many times, the secular pattern has been formed, and the church has not been able to complete the unification of the mainland after all of this. All this is due to the fact that the witch queen died too early. Alarmed Natalia, whom she considered a friend, not only rejected her plan but also suddenly attacked her during a meeting. This scene is recorded in the complete scriptures. If she is still alive and the war of faith is enough to end 50 years in advance, then the church can completely unify the mainland after accepting all the witches. No one could have imagined that this delay would be dragged to the present. Aldo Ella, your holiness. There's something unclear about, say, were the earlier popes all witches while after that it became entrete orta people 0. You should head back first. Yes, your holiness. Loalcom ki. It's because of weakness and cowardice. Way. Tilda. What JLOLNCCM, child, you heard that right, all of these. It'll because of our weakness and timidity. In order to restore the witch's glory after defeating the demons, Alice had stipulated that the Pope's position must be taken up, an extraordinary, but extraordinary witches were very rare, and it always wasn't possible to find the ideal candidate. Therefore a few prominent ordinary witches served as the Pope. But weakness and cowardice was like poisonous snakes in the heart which could never be removed once they appeared. Alkolnikom asa mortal. The archbishop was afraid Adam of being oppressed the witches someday and therefore usurped the Pope's position, and therefore the next popes were. Yes, all of us are cowardly descendants who profiteered from the witches' sacrifice. Loalm. Regardless of the future, the church has to bury this CCDCTCODCFD. As for the truth of the War of Divine Will, Loalm recorded in the pivotal secret temple. Now it is up to you to carry all this and continue. Even giving up may also be a wise choice. Give up. If you give up, who else was going to take over this position? Your Highness Locum. Alcalcom, child, sorry. Your Highness Logo, oh brain. Alcalic. Aloelincom. Good morning, Agatha. How did you sleep last night? Did the oatmeal and fried eggs years into the future suit your tastes? ASA Witch of the Union can judge the depth of ordinary people at a glance. But this way of identification cannot be used on him. Melanlek. His eyes were filled with indescribable look and confidence. It seems that he has lived for thousands of years and knows everything in the world well. Reluctantly, it would have been better if you hadn't let a witch barge into room. All right, she will knock next time. The way, if you want to go outside and visit the small towns and customs of this era, you can ask Nightingale to show you around. If you wish to read history books, you can ask Scroll. She has kept all the books she read in her mind. Aloalmancom. People's customs with the dangers of demons looming over us. Would love to see how you have the audacity to claim that mortals can defeat demons if you can't fend off their attacks. All the History and customs are completely meaningless compared with here. Industry, light industry and civilian likelihood are just as important. Are you so interested in cannons? What do you mean light and heavy? Nothing, never mind. You will soon see, and we're going to test new weapons this afternoon at Alncom. But before that, have some questions to ask you. Just ask. How many meals did mortals eat in a day? What was their staple food? Did they eat a lot of meat? What was their salary? Did the witches participate in farming, livestock breeding, or iron forging? Of course, a lower ummcom. The guards and servants in tower are provided with 3 meals day, except for the month of evil spirits. They can eat meat once a week. They became attendants and vowed to serve me for life, and in return gave them shelter and food, and imparted knowledge onto them. They didn't need any other compensation, and what you said is farming, which is the job of assisting witches. Noah. Is he particularly interested in the food, clothing, housing and transportation in the holy city? Compared with these insignificant matters, isn't he concerned about the demons who have already conquered more than half of the Dawn region and are about to strike again? The way you said that you were a member of the Quest Society and that this society specifically studied magic stones and magic power. Finally, there are still some decent problems. Yes, the so-called magic stone is transformed from God's stone of retaliation. It can suppress witch's ability, but it can also give her unique powers. How is it done? This is the secret that the Quest has been pursuing more than 400 years in order to figure out the connection between the magic power and the magic stone. It has been innumerable, can tell you. But you must also share your knowledge of increasing witches' awakening rates, of course, in return. There is no problem with this. This magic stone was discovered in the ancient ruins and enabled me to. There is no doubt that this type of magic stone is immensely powerful. When battling the demons, it will give troops an advantage in both attacks and retreats, not to mention it saved quite an amount of time in daily commute. But do you still rely on walking when you retreat? How was it that even senior awakened witch like you did not have such a convenient magic stone? We only understood the relationship between magic power and magic stones. But we couldn't produce the stones at Alncom. You couldn't produce them. What does that mean? These magic stones were made demons. If we had a reliable source of magic stones, we would have been able to transform assistant witches into combat witches, and Go's punishment army wouldn't exist. There was a strange being among the demons which we called the Chaos Beast. Its appearance resembled a large flower bud with the height of 3 or 4 people, and it crawled slowly on its tentacles. After it swallowed God's stones of retaliation, it could produce a variety of magic stones, and the speed of this process depended on the type of magic stone being produced. LOL. This have you seen in with your own eyes? We once raided a devil's camp far from the battlefield and caught a lie. The witches brought it back to Tequila and made it work for the holy city. This kind of demon was extremely unintelligent, so it automatically transformed the stones it was fed. Unfortunately, we did not know how to make it produce more powerful stones. And we also didn't know how to raise it. 6 months later it turned yellow and wilted like an uprooted plant. LOL. Afterward, the Quest Society sent a couple of witches to other devils towns to investigate. All reports led to the same conclusion. Chaos beasts were the only way of obtaining magic stones, and it would take a longer time to produce more powerful stones. Most demons used magic stones in battle. For example, the Mad Demon embedded on its army magic stone that could instantly excite its body's energy and give it powerful long-range attacking abilities. The magic stones we obtained were all captured from enemies or camps. LOL. So this stone of flight used to belong to a demon. As far as know, only a powerful demon leader could have such a magic stone. So it probably belonged to the battle spells of a transcendent. What kind of magic stone does the devil have? Magic stones with various abilities from the beginning. Of course not. If that were the case, humans would have been doomed long ago. In the first battle of 9, most demons did not have magic stones. They relied on their immense bodies and impenetrable armor and attacked human cities with metal spears. This is all recorded very thoroughly in history books. The war lasted for hundreds of years. Human territories were conquered bit lentil. Everyone was forced to retreat to the fertile plains. At that time we were closest to victory if we had been led a witch and had a trained platoon of combat witches. The demons wouldn't have even been able to set foot in the Dawn region. The Second Battle of Manhwa, their attacks became much more varied. The war lasted only years, and we were completely defeated. Although the elite Holy Protection Army can contend with the Lord of Hell, the number of enemies is much larger than ours. Heard from the elders of the Union that the witches actually had the upper hand for the first 10 years and that one transcendent could slaughter an entire demon platoon. They are not only numerous, but they have made amazing progress. Waiting for this attack. Don't know what kind of army will appear. Are mad demon, fearsome demon and hell lord are all the types that you clarify as demons? Yes, these names became widespread in the Second Battle of Divine Will. Before they had their magic stones, there was not much difference between them besides their appearance. All lick. How did they reproduce? That don't know. It was never recorded in any books or learned from captives. They couldn't survive for long without the red, so we didn't have enough time to understand their language. And the demons who did not need the red to shore were all low-level beasts that couldn't communicate. Beasts aren't yes, demons consisted of many different species, but there were two main categories. One had magic power and the other didn't. The latter didn't need the red to survive, but their appearance and intelligence were no different from regular animals. Examples of these beasts were 8-feet reptiles that carried supplies for the demons, and winged devil beasts that could carry demons into the air. Wait, did these devil beasts you mentioned look like this? Alcorn CCM. This is indeed a devil beast. Have you seen one before? Not too far from here. Thought it was a demonic beast tamed the demons, so you're saying that they aren't the same thing? Aloha linksum. Of course not. Low-level demonic beasts were nothing but food for demons, while powerful mutant Chow and D Cax WCDT actual threats to demons. When the months of the demons married, their attacks usually decreased, giving us some time to recover. If there are Isa there around, that means a demon's town can't be far away. Where are they? Just west of the mist forest behind a large snow mountain. It's completely covered in red mist. We tried to get close, but were discovered. The giant demon who was in charge of the guard on the stone tower too. Oxalic. It's blessing to be able to escape back. We can to capture this camp. Those short stone towers are used to maintain the red mist. They will constantly evaporate a stored liquid, so they need to be refilled periodically. That why those demons always hide underground too. You said initiate an attack on the demons. There are multi-eyed demons on watch, which meant that there is probably a chaos beast in the camp. Alnico Elia. Chaos beast will always preserve its ability to produce its last magic stone, even if it is not a powerful magic stone. We can still use it to further the research of the Quest Society and even find the principle of transforming God's stone of retaliation. Isn't the red fog extremely toxic, and there's no way for us to approach it, right? It's only toxic to witches according to the Quest Society's research. Normal humans, plants and animals can all survive underneath the red fog. In addition, fire can speed up its rate of dispersion. Don't you say that mortals can defeat the devils? Then prove it to me. They winged hybrids can be lured away. Our flying witches. The rest of the people can stand waiting for us to rouse the devils and lead them into a trap. Flying witch, sit me. If what you said is true, taking this stronghold should be a piece of cake. Forgot to mention this earlier. This investigation trip was done via hot air balloon, not the flying witches you assumed. This kind of flying device can only carry a dozen people. Afraid there's no way we can carry a whole troop of normal soldiers. In addition, this plan you came up with is highly susceptible to risk. We have no idea just how many devils are. Karatno Arund. Close quarters combat will result in casualties, not to mention the dangerous job of luring the devil beasts. Refuse to put people in such danger. How could anyone have a foolproof plan for fighting the devils? Every time Tail took the initiative to attack, everyone had the determination to fight to death with the devil. He was lying to me in order to achieve an end goal. Casualties or an eventuality only. Name rookie who's never experienced the cruel reality of war would worry so much about every single individual life. Well, after watching the new weapons in the afternoon, maybe we can come up with a better plan for the Aloe Almconch capture a prince who only fought before on paper a bunch of witches. With support abilities and some fragile and useless ordinary mortals, even with the most powerful of weapons, how strong could they possibly be? You often spoke of the Battle of Divine Will. Do you call it that? Isn't it simply a war to repel the devil invasion, Alkalic Blitzel? That's what everyone called it. The history books never recorded the initial reason for the war. It's not wrong to say that it's a war against invaders. The devil did come to the light realm of dawn through the gates of hell. Every time a bloody red moon comes, the gates of hell shall open, engulfing the world. We know that's what was written in the history books. In short, these damned stone gates would appear every few hundred years. The first horde of devils used them to come to the land of dawn and rabidly attempted to kill us all. When the stone gates appear, the devil can build an obelisk that can produce red mist on its own. This kind of black stone tower is taller than mountains and had a wide area of diffusion. A single one is enough to cover Alkalic the entire fertile plains. Is it the devils will definitely construct an obelisk in the middle of the plains to serve as their base? After it's complete, they'll use their fortresses at the boundaries of the fog to initiate their attack. This time, afraid there's nowhere left for humanity to run. Lacal, if that day comes, everyone can at least escape to fjords to weather the storm. Coach, how many people could a tiny land like that possibly sustain? It's nothing but a place of desperation where one waits for their eventual demise. Alright, everyone cheer up a little. At least we now have a decent understanding of the devils we're up against. Once the time the third battle of Divine Will begins, we won't be unprepared. Let's call it a day here. Anything else we can discuss after lunch? Olden tail tie. Alkalic legal. In such a crisis, the prince still has leisure to enjoy the food. As everyone knows that human beings are about to die, it is short-sighted. Alo lich. What is even more annoying is that can't resist the temptation of delicious food. I am too embarrassed to the holy city of tequila. Down slow. Didn't he say he was going to show us the new weapons in the afternoon? He leaves all himself after eating. You mean, your highness, this underscore is probably because he's a Wallen CM taking nap. That's his majesty's habit, usually after lunch. Hell, always sleep for at least an hour. His majesty often says the body is the foundation of all efforts. Without enough rest, it's impossible to fulfill the duties of a lord. An afternoon nap? What kind of habit is this? A whole night isn't enough for him. Thesis: obviously nothing but a lazy person making excuses. Yet you actually wholeheartedly believe him. Normal witches or high-level witches, do you trust him so much? Is it just because he gave you a safe place? Do you really believe that he can win against the devils? Not even against the church that has been suppressing you all. Can't speak for tax other dicks, but myself do believe in him alone, because his majesty is capable of making the things that no one else imagined or even dared to imagine happen to me. He's someone who made countless miracles happen. Miracle. When witches everywhere were being hunted to death, he saved the association. When everyone saw us as demons, he in a single shot created a place His Majesty has where we could manage to use a coexist in harmony army of peasants to fend off the months of the demons, and defeated Duke Ryan, who had a territory several times of his. Even the mad empowered army of Grey Castle weren't able to take a single step past our border. But these are merely a battle of mortals compared with the war between God's punishment army and the devils. Of course, more that his teachings and theories allowed four sisters to evolve their abilities, and has unceasingly created increasingly powerful weapons which allow knights and even ordinary people to win against extraordinaries. These are all miracles that give personally witness, not just the voice wild rumors of tavern nor the bombastic descriptions of historical records. They happened right in front of eyes. One day he'll become the king of Grey Castle and lead us to defeat any and all of our enemies. That what believe. If it's not for fear of misunderstanding, other witches really want to shake his face and make him sober. Even Tequila's inner city could never be this orderly. However, it is not a building worth taking a closer look at. Even the castle itself could not compare to Tequila's quest tower in grandiosity. How many people live here? Well, there were only more than Elo all cod people in the beginning, but now with thee there were only refugees from thee, and he north and south claimed to defeat demons. There's almost what a stupid hold on. Even in its prime, Tequila could only accommodate people. Could this tiny place hold? She wasn't counting the Fofalatans surrounding villages. Right after the population reached a certain point, demands on the city would also increase exponentially. Tequila faced all of these issues. Firstly, the demand for food and water would increase dramatically. Secondly, there would be more public safety issues. Following an increase in slums, overpopulation did not strengthen the city's defense, but instead paralyzed the entire city. It's precisely because have see #acidic tilde first hand that know the difficulty of expanding the population. Perhaps Nightingale had no idea what she was talking about and was simply lying to me. Alcom should ask Wendy these kinds of questions in the future. At least she seemed more sincere. Its Royal Highness Roland. After working hard, let's prepare for the test first. This is the city wall. But there are no barbs buried on the wall, and there is no moat about it. Demons wouldn't even need machines to climb this wall, as they could do so bare-handedly. Don't worry, please take a look at the subjects of this test. This is Alcavancom, newly invented weapon of Border Town. The stronghold standard artillery symbolizing justice and glory. We made many improvements on the basis of the pound field artillery, and it's outstanding in all respects. It's undoubtedly a revolutionary weapon. Allo Alincom. Ahem. Let's not waste our breath and start testing. Iron Axe, take it away. Yes, Your Highness. Alcavancom. What justice and glory? Fortress standard type sounds very frivolous. The series of introductions that follow are all slurred, and they are completely concocted words. Report preparation is ready to prepare to launch. Alcalincom, everyone cover your ears. Pietist ready. This quickly. Fire. Alcalincom, Matt, are you okay? Don't. Are there any changes in this? Is the flame just now meant to intimidate the enemy? Did you see the landing point? It fell behind an Allo Alincom small hill nearest to the red flag. But it was still much farther. Red flag, what are you talking about? This weapon can fire shells or bolts that you're familiar with too. A long distance, so it's used to attack enemies far away in order to observe the range of attack. Had lightning place colored flags. Cherry can kilometers, and the red flag was the last one at 5 kilometers away. Your measurements. 1 kilometer is a little over yards. There were no pulleys or power storing mechanisms. How did they make it? Even siege beasts stun magic power could only reach a range of meters. Owl at a link at M. If he was not lying, then tall and sturdy city wall combined with these kinds of weapons could really fend off the demon's attack. But it's probably not very easy for a weapon with such an astonishing firing range to fire. Even once can't see where the shells fall. Feel like something is missing. Next, let's test a fast triple shot flat aim to attack targets in short range. An alkalin's CQM. Phew, great. This, judging from the time when the fire was fired to when the snow column was raised, it was absolutely impossible to avoid its attack, even if it was extraordinary if his Tequila was guarded. Such a powerful weapon at that time. We should have been able to keep all the frightful demons below the city walls. Was this weapon created? Witches Alcalncom. To be precise, this is masterpiece, jointly created witches and mortals. Anna and others took care of everything from smelting to casting the longing cannon together with Lucia's elemental purification. Sylvie will finally make up the metal flaw detection link, whereas alchemists were responsible for shells that were used to fire. The way the witches who have been engaged in manufacturing are all what you call assistant witches. Except Anna Slalom thought was tolerant enough to treat mortals. But now it seems that it is far from actions. Mortals can defeat demons. Is he really right? Ilo Alinik at M. But what exactly is this structure? Is there such amazing expose power? Just like you don't take the handful of glass beads and shoot them. Ahem. Mine is the glorious magic bow, is it not? Concept all agalnscom. It was nice to have Buchan ally, but as for brother, it feels more distant. Even felt he was already far front of me. What is he thinking? It would be great if Al Kalncom could be more honest. That were finally collected were exhausted. The blink of eyes, it hurts, although this wave of pretending to be very successful, the price is really too great. Aloaln Katem. Nightingale told me want to discuss something with me. Yes, it's mainly about how to cope with the third battle of divine will and future Aloalncom. According to Agatha, the Four Kingdoms was merely tip of the Land of Dawn, and that even the barbarian land used to be the most prosperous fertile plains before was after being defeated demons. Twice that human beings had to retreat to this place based on the time the stone gates opened. The third battle divine will is not far away from us of hope. Stay Alkalingam. Dion expect would say that the strength of demons is unpredictable, and we must gather all the powers available to win the war. Although Agatha said the first battle of divine will was operated both mortals and witches, was very likely that their cooperation was only on the surface, which essentially had no difference from the second battle of divine will along. You've already seen the excess of the Memory's head possesses weapons sufficient to defeat demons. Here memories, once these memories are converted to physical entities, mortals also burst out powers beyond imagination. The right choice is to have witches take care of the operation of war machines, while ordinary people fight the war. When the war is approaching, one more person means one more source of strength. Aloel income. If stay, what about the witches on the sleeping island? Does that mean she agreed? Ask them to come to the border town, they are totally welcome here. Oh, mark off plot of land for your witches, and each of them will be equally paid as those the witch union slalom. Don't mean making them members of the union, they still be led. It's like establishing special autonomous district, the western region, which will facilitate cooperation and boost tub minus understanding between us. Don't mind their abilities, no, most of them can't fight for you, not the cooperation model. Have conceived assistant witches, on the contrary, play more important role than combat ones, because it isn't themselves that are strengthened but hundreds of thousands of ordinary people. Nature doesn't lack power but lacks people who discover and make use of. Teams AIs regard the abilities of assistant witches a far greater. Al at Alman Katem, is this your real purpose? It's indeed generous offer. View of the public concerns, can't refuse your request to jointly fight against the intrusion of demons. View of the personal concerns, also want to stay here to learn the interesting knowledge but cannot promise now since the leader elected the witches on the sleeping island can't decide their future based on personal preference. Honor once moved to the western region, the organization will inevitably lose its independence. If something happens, they'll be too vulnerable to resist. If one day there are conflicts between us, should all the witches have to pack and return to the sleeping island again? Not ill, never. Can't put their future oral promise. If were me, would surrender everything or yours to me simply because Al Dangom we are allies. See, are worried about the same thing as, but a younger sister won't hurt you really, but for their reason just said still can't trust it. This is probably can't promise right away. Let's just treat each other as ally for now. We'll give full to the construction of border town. If you need witches ill to meet your requirements as much as can, if it's really hard to resist the attacks from demons, still return to Sleeping Island and spend the rest of your life peace. This is all that. Do Aloal Inlcom. Okay, see, thank you. It seems that you're not capable of everything. What on earth did say to her that day? White lie. It's very normal that she doesn't believe it. Said that had younger brother if he suddenly becomes very different than he used to be, and Al Calvincom keeps saying that he still himself will believe him. Do mean that guy who looked innocent but then betrayed me the back far as see he was basically no different from mutation as well. Shouldn't have mentioned this, it doesn't matter anyway, not member of Glean family anymore and they're just strangers to me. She and were once just like strangers as well. Other words, didn't get along well with anyone. The palace, if you feel bored share it with me. Give been very curious about the royal life, also want to know how bad were Aloal Nom that time. How Could be so bad that your notorious reputation was even spread to the Silver City, to be honest, back then was much worse than now, probably from the moment she fell onto the glass slag. She began to hate me. It's indeed terrible, but think she doesn't hate now. Oh. How could know that life poi she didn't lie about it if she still hates as much as she did the LOL in Skoma past. She would never feel like saying here are comforting me, just telling the truth, and think it's fine to maintain the status quo. She promised to give priority to providing witches for the town to against demons. So there's no difference whether she stays here or not. If the witches on the sleeping island all come to the town the same time with more witches like Ashes may be very busy. Not everyone is as obedient as Maggie. Not sure if it's illusion. D feels so happy when was rejected. That's illusion. Lol kat m. Well, someone is coming. Wait, was it just her excuse to get away? Pep, please come in. Al Calncom. Agatha, what's the matter? Wendy said that the flintlock that fight against extraordinary and the cannon with amazing long shooting range were both your ideas. Is it true? And the theories behind these things and their manufacturing methods are all recorded. The books wrote do mean natural science, theoretical foundation, and elementary chemistry. Some there's related theories them, but as for their manufacturing methods, they're not written down because of length. After all, they are just textbooks for elementary theories. Al at ALNC at M. Only members of the witch union learn such knowledge, right? Then apply to join the witch lining. But the witch union is organization belonging to the border town. A sure want to work for the town. Odds not transcendent, but just ordinary mortal. If create weapon that fight the demons can't be regarded as ordinary mortal. Even the quest society, there'd be place for you. Alkalingam. Cod lay no harm to the witches. And it's not against the survivors of the union. Don't mind cooperating with mortals for her. It's a bit difficult to work for mortals. But this acceptance has already impressed me. Maybe people engaged research always accept new things. Quickly thought would follow till to the sleeping island, which is city built. The witches, it's just refuge for hiding from the hunting of the church. Give learned about everything from them before made this decision, and give seen so many cities ruled the witches before was frozen. Yet they were all gone without any traces. It is meaningless if we cannot defeat demons. Wish could see the hope of victory here. Will Alvancom. But as to not be against, the union cannot promise that because it probably hasn't been gone but just changed its name and covered what itself up. But give thought about what's said carefully. Even if ran away from Tequila after it was defeated, there were still transcendent and many blessed warriors. The union on this undeveloped land, which many original inhabitants are living, they can't entirely extinct unless they intend to do so. The church is probably transformation of the union. It were not the mortals that took away the power and the methods of creating God's punishment army. See from the witches. But the witches themselves did that and turned the union into organization that hunted witches. This way it's more convenient for them to create large Alcalancom number of God's punishment armies. A saying that it's the union that has led to the tragic situation where witches are oppressed and hunted. I'm not sure. Yet it's just guess. One find their chronology written, the church itself, and the histories of the four kingdoms written. Astrologers make reference to them. ZL Kalnchu. Any case, the church is now enemy that we must eliminate the future if decide to stand on the side of witches and fight against demons with me. You're most welcome. The witch union. Me Eloalimgom. Hasa. Red Kamai. Caribou. The form of the magic power is blue pentagonal prism and it's medium level. It belongs to the summon category. Your ability has evolved once the initial performance is creating low temperature, and it freezes normal temperature after evolution, which is very convenient ability. Algalmakia. How did get evolved? Constant practice and sudden enlightenment. Every day kept trying to lower the temperature to freeze the water instantly. One day saw witch who manipulated the flame to melt piece of lead into liquid, and as the lead was heated the flame, the lead water began to boil. ALD venom may have three states: gaseous, liquid and solid. Water demand gas, gaseous water, endothermic water. Liquid solid. Exothermic lead is solid room temperature, but if the temperature is high enough it also turns into gas. Water is liquid room temperature, and when the temperature falls, it freezes into ice. With this idea quickly felt the magic power body changing entirely and finally evolved into senior witches. This enlightenment is also recorded. The general principles. C. What is the general principles? Wait, aren't surprised, all the world is full it is of gas anywhere and everywhere without any weight. Actually the gas are into flowing water and frozen ice. They are very normal, phenomenal, and there are many kinds of gases, each of which has different boiling points and melting points. Should be surprised, their common sense, natural science, theoretical foundation. Alternate. Later Google.com. The general principles. It records the feelings and experiences of the high awakened during their evolution. Oh, it turned out to be illustrated book. But the abilities of witches are different from each other, which makes it very difficult for them to evolve. Imitation and referencing. So this book is of course incomparable to your natural science theoretical foundation. Did say something wrong? Well, just said that the abilities of the witches are different from each other. So there's no one sharing the same ability among thousands of witches. The union, not the quest. Society beliefs that the form of magic power decides the ability. But there are no witches sharing the same form of magic power. But when first saw Anna could instantly tell that it was the ability of fire control. It's just an informal categorizations. Widis. Easy understand abilities at generating light and heat, maybe categ at rise identifier at neural. But worth be development manpower consolidation. A fewer growing up at RHGH awakening similar abilities. WL at ang greatly even the initial stage fire control. Some witches are good controlling the temperature, some generating greater fire, and some throwing the fire caught. Even if there's no obvious differences, it's because of the lack of careful observation. The quest society categorization method was much more formal and basically the same as yours. There are also 3 types. Shaping. You understand the difference from the literal meanings. The former means that the summoning of the ability costs magic power all the time, just like Anna's. When the magic power is gone, the summoning of the ability will stop and shaping exist for very long time, just like the coating drawn. Sorry, right, although you don't know the exact ability of Soroyan, it's pretty much like that. Or kunk that stay for long time be taken shaping, such as ability of freezing normal temperature. Understood? That's all for the test today. Usually if receive no assignment from me, practice your ability as wish, but thinking that someone might urgently need your help. Who the chief alchemist of Border Town? Oud. Kyle Ritchie. Bonobo chapter. Yep. China literature. Rift Woodman in #p. China literature. Hilt limit Comex MLIEMX KMT _Azillion aging. According to the records of stall literature, temperature control was the key. Large-scale production of nitrifying glycerol. The excess heat of exothermic reactions was extremely prone to cause the sensitive dynamites to explode. However, as long as the temperature of the large reaction vessel could be kept constant, the nitrating glycerin could be safely manufactured. Batches alkalink at as the frozen coffin of Agatha could easily produce lower temperatures, such as need below 0 was undoubted great way to cool down the container. The identity of down and out noble, but don't know if that alchemist suppresses his weird temper, even though it was fabricated for him. He would take good care of the witch, who might bring great help to the chemistry experiments. Your Highness, off what happened did set the cost of transporting refugees too high this time, making Your Highness so troubled. What all? Not if it were not for you, these refugees would have to spend the cold winter the slums of other cities. It was rare for Your Highness to ask me for help, such urgent tone of voice, and naturally had to do best. However, many sailors were unwilling to set sail the heavy snow, and hence was only able pull together these sail ships. As partner, I'm naturally willing to do this for you. Unfortunately, Gukumko too. It's pity the year I'll be unable to visit. You are referring to trading opportunity? Yes, Timothy has decreed ban on saltpeter trade, and therefore sales are prohibited not only to King's City but also Silver City and Seawater City, aside from supplying low price to the NCUFMICTWODVEUOD. The only other customers are the nobility, the city, and according to piece of news that heard from City Hall source, Timothy is planning to blockade the western region, afraid that not only saltpeter but also merchants which will be stopped the frontier of Seawater City when the time comes. Not only border town but also Longing Stronghold and Willow Town will affect 10. Urge.com. Although many nobles have expressed opposition, unlikely that Timothy will revoke his order. From next year onwards not only be unable to ship saltpeter and ingots over here, but even the steam engine trade will probably be suspended. Must have pushed him too far, or he wouldn't have issued decree that's so damaging to the royalty. Much saltpeter was material used large-scale acid production. If supply was cut off, the artillery would become useless and reloading of new repeating rifles would all be massively delayed. Today border town remained state of primitive accumulation. If the revenue from the steam engine trade was lost, finances might to the point that pay cannot be issued to the people and full economic meltdown would follow. Phew. This situation won't last long. Believe that you'll soon be able to visit town again. Not when that time comes. Aloalngum. You'll see brand new city also plan to set trade shipping route that connects directly to the fjords instead of passing through Sea Winshire or of Clearwater. It set out directly from the western region towards the fjord islands. Will be interested to participate. This setting out from the western region. Didn't know that there's good harbor that leads to the sea here. There isn't yet, but we build one. The south of border town there's shore where the depth of water is ideal and the surface area is highly suitable, sufficient to accommodate all the facilities required. The harbor with little modification and flattening the coastal mountains will be able to transport alkaline_H materials from the west side. Land will leave the ship and the same time will be responsible for the transportation and sales. The western dodged provides goods. Sean, let Margaret take look. Latest products. Yes, your highness. This is. Open it and smell it. Aloal Ngomu. Is this smell perfume? Gosh, actually made perfume. Wonder how is it compared with the perfume created the alchemist workshop King's City. The fragrance seems to be stronger. Was this manufactured the alchemist workshop border town? More or less if like give these few bottles to you. Really, thank you your highness. Don't know how many bottles of perfume your alchemist workshop produce years. No, the big businessmen the fjord are very particular about the fishy smell of their bodies. Slalom. There are more than 1,000 bottles sold the Royal Alchemy Association all years. There's sufficient material. It should be approximately 10 times the amount produced the alchemist workshop King's City. But actually more with the cooperation between Yeti and Evelyn. This is simply profitable commodity and can't sell it as Cabbage Cloud were. So does that mean you're willing to manage the sales of these goods? Of course your highness. Aloalvgom. Find this to be rare opportunity. Cite Zekengo. It's hard to believe that book like this could be written. Mortal, the more ready the more realize that the world is the way it is amidst the chaos. There are hidden rules and everything operates according to the same rules. If he was born Tequila, the Union would certainly accept him's member. And there's chance that he'll possess the same status as senior witch. Where exactly did he acquire all of this knowledge from? Had thought that the mortal's research has been extensive, but after these few days of observation, it seems that there's not much difference from years ago, and perhaps even little behind. Don't know either. How was he like the past? Al-Kovja. The past he was arrogant, cowardly, bigoted, ignorant, unskilled, and terrible. His only merit was probably that he didn't make use of his status as prince to commit any atrocious act. Oh, so he was equal to other mortals? Not Aloalncom. Even among mortals he was considered terrible fella. Though he improved after coming here, it's still never clear what he's thinking. He would always hold back his words and yet wanted people to. What's the matter, Jal Kogum? Not anything. This is the first time Give heard speak about this. Damn, what saying Keep should claim to be allied of the Witch League and complaining like this is demeaning. What mean is? It's okay, his highness wouldn't care. He probably has his own reasons. Roland didn't mention these two before. Not haven't asked him either if he wanted to talk about it. He would. Al Dawagoy. From what said he was totally different person the past there used to be saying the Quest Society. That the more uncommon person is the more distinct quirk he has. Perhaps this kind of change is normal occurrence while the palace did Roland howl the moon or spend long time staring and gesturing the wall. What kind of quirks are these? Apart from being little eccentric, the way he did things he was no different from ordinary people. However, heard people mention Aragon that once during court lesson he publicly exclaimed that he would marry witch. Probably because of these words Gerald and Timothy constantly picked on him the name of purifying the devil's minions, while his own father me was also unhappy with the behavior. After that his personality became more and more stubborn and unruly. Besom he was discriminated against because he wanted to marry witch. This was noble gold tequila. Of course the number of people who were successful to do this was very small because most witches were unwilling to spend their lives with only one. But we're different from years ago. If he married witch it would mean that he wouldn't have children. To succeed him, how could his father feel good about such idea? It has already been more than years. He has most probably already forgotten those silly words, is it? But now he's still willing to marry witch Yaoamcom. Oh, he still remembers. Wait, said now yes. His Highness said so himself. Bonobo Day Chapter China Literature Rift E. Woodman Hull in #p. China Literature Hilt Limit Comex Eiley MX KMT _ a zillion aging. Don't want to sleep little more, it's still early isn't it? His Highness orders me to pay visit to Border Town right now, even this weather. Yes, it must be about something urgent. I'll pack later and leave the afternoon, should go home for now and visit as soon as get back along. Can't just pretend didn't receive it, even though he conquered the longing stronghold. You're their actual ruler here. Even if it were the king's order, didn't have to immediately carry it out, right? That's not the same. The king might not pay attention to the western region, but His Highness Roland can. He isn't only the lord of Border Town. Louder a bit, the ruler the entire western region of Algaligu. During the months of demons there truly wasn't much official business to attend to longing stronghold. Besides there is also father sitting the castle plus servants and apprentices. These days when away they will definitely be able to get around. Year ago when sailed through blizzard to Border Town, bearing the warning from longing stronghold from Duke Ryan, but now was summoned back to the Godawful place because of letter from the town lord. Cruel twist of fate. Alcalngom demon. Hang her. Go check it out. If it's regular brawl tell them to get back into their houses. Yes sir, few have held them are making trouble. Let me got. What happened sir? Kill her immediately. She has fallen to temptation and become witch Alcaungoi. Witch. She isn't the demon's minion. All saw plays that there were both good and bad witches. Do punish her. A cloud merge. A certain she's witch. Yes sir, don't be fooled. The plays. If the church were still here it would have never allowed them to spread such lies on stage. This thing here is also little demon and was punishing her on behalf of the church. Sir, hang her right now so that the influence of hell won't spread. Get to the long song point. She used the power of the demon to melt all the snow on the roof. See it clearly, don't know what she is doing. It's all blame for the performance, the theater. Her body should have been hung linger the roof beams long ago, although the wetland church was burnt down. Eaujumamo. Unfortunately the holy city will definitely send that time new priests. We will again eventually receive God's mercy and protection. Take her back and interrogate her thoroughly. You'll stay the stronghold this time. When come back expect all the disciples similar to her to be prison. What not sir, how could you? Are really witch? Show me your abilities. Do not listen to him lummox. If prove that a really witch Leto got a cloudmerge.com. Alden this. Come with me. Come where to get place fit for witches to live. Put her down liar. A cloud merge. Promised to let her got old Dalmcoy. Let me got. Her name is Paper Action along. There was no doubt that only orphan could have such meaningless name. Aunt the blanket isn't their hammock. The cabin, although it wants the most comfortable thing, it was still warm. Get it? Dirty sailors can't be any cleaner than are. This journey takes 3 days. Are just going to sit like this the entire time, worried that Claudia starved to death before we even reach border. Town, it's hot, be careful. Who is he, the boy who is protecting you, your orphan friend? Snake Tooth. He often brought us food to eat. If you go with you, won't arrest him, right? He's not witch, he said. That could help the residents clear the snow on their roofs, exchange for food, so no one would go hungry. The theater puts on stories about witches all the time, so no one is afraid of witches now. Alamo. As long as willing to do it, he negotiates with the adults. This kid is quite interesting. She knew how to make the most of her resources. But she underestimated the church's influence rifts, so did get food exchange. Cleaned 3 roofs. One family chased me away while the other 2 gave me half loaf of bread and pancakes. However, when got to the 4th, met that hateful old woman. Alo aimgom, get some rest when you're done drinking. Send someone to get when it's dinner time after 3 days. We'll see His Highness. Your Highness, your lord. Welcome to Border Town, Ambassador. The honeysuckle family pays respects, your highness. Call here because of very important matter. It concerns the future of the entire western region. Longing stronghold naturally also included. Please go ahead. Plan to build city here which will extend westward to the misty forest, eastward to Longing and it'll street Kujo Lalfod, the western region from its bounds. Then on the stronghold will be eastern fortress for the Swiss new and the first line of defense against the church's army instead of independent city like it is. Bib. Now her Fei de Ryan move lie defense line against the demonic beasts to border town and utilize the space between the 2 towns. City. Would never have expected that they would use this net whole year later with much heavier hands. If the prince is telling this to me, it means he had already made his mind and no one will be able to stop him from carrying out his plan. They could dang to reap as much profit as possible during this immense change. Said that the 5 noble families can't meddle city affairs. How the honeysuckle family continue to serve you. You've really surprised me, Ambassador. Both asked to ransom the stronghold, and your positive attitude right now are wise and calculated decisions that are rarely seen. Maid nobles. As long as the honeysuckle family is willing to accept rule, continue to assist me to govern the Longing region. cloudmerge.com. Both father and will always do as wish. I'm not talking about individuals. I'm talking about the whole area. From now on, the mobilities under rule will have the ownership of their land but not the right to govern it. Whether it is regarding the law enforcement or other policies, they'll all have to defer to the decrees of the city hall. Land still be passed on through family lineage just like titles. Industries that your family conducts, such as farming or craftsmanship, will also belong to the Hon Kukukvlok. Any story #GCACD along with your land. That's your indisputable right and promise blessing. Aside from governing rights, nothing will change about the land own. It might even flourish under new policies. Of course, also choose to return to your land and continue to live a cloud merge. Con. As feudal lord, however, when finish building new city and begin expanding, any land conquer won't belong to its original owner anymore. Do really think he'll agree? I'm not sure. Addition, even if he does, he'll still need to persuade Count Hull for it to be of any used. His father still insists on his position as noble, as there'd be nothing we do. A cloudmerge.com. Can't bear to see him got. Of course not as noble. He's both intelligent and humble, as well as having penchant as for managing, as he commerce studies Longing stronghold 4 or 2. He'll yearnis LXV become capable government official. You long. If he manages to persuade Count Hull, you'll really hand the royal capital over for him to. If govern manage to conquer Grey Castle, the capital will naturally need to be moved elsewhere. Addition, cities that are far from the western region will need to be octaves send as from the west. Such the terms laid out may have sounded fantastical but were nevertheless legitimate. Alright, then it's not as if understand these things anyway. Any case, the new witch is coming over soon. It's best if go you're elsewhere for going to while question her yourself. Call Wendy over. She better these things than lamb. It's handed over to you, the witches union, for the sake of safety. Oh. Cause mainly Champion Scroll had established rule prior to any further interactions with unknown witch. Their identity had to first be confirmed. Nightingale doing this requires her to enter her missed and therefore also take off the god's stone of retaliation, thus it was best if not present. Lest the outsider revolts and anything unexpected happens. #IJoltScroll even managed to come with series of questions specifically to determine one's identity, since Nightingale could only determine the veracity of someone's statements based on the target's own beliefs. This battery of true-false questions aimed to establish the target's true intentions without leaving any loopholes. Even if you could deceive her once or twice, there was no way they could pass every single question. Considering the witch's good intentions, he could go along. Key this plan I'm declaring long-term recruitment drive, and the details are on this paper. Here your majesty mean to recruit them. WVILCITCD monthly of entire salad royal each a cloudmerge.com. This is also the right witches union's standard salary. Border towns' average salary and standard of living were already well beyond those of other cities, with the highest paid being the workers, the acid manufacturing plant silver royals, yet this new decree set the witches' wage 5 times the current highest, cementing their position. Society since want to recruit more witches, not send people to search for them the same way had the and Citizens Report should spy after all, offer reward, their eyes see for finding more truth than what than anyone. Difference will eases there be between me and the church, then even if we say so the witches forcibly exposed this way might think we're persecuting them. 80 new witches. Border town may have not experienced the persecution of the populace, the same cannot be said for those who have come from elsewhere. Hope is for them to stand AZ's forward of their own volition for the sake of making their own contribution to Border town. Addition to the witch's own inhibitions, Roland was also worried about the effect declaring reward would have on the populace, creating new wave of witch hunters or witches out to be makeable commodities to be created and found. Giving birth to which would become more profitable than hard work, which though the short term would elevate the witches' positions, but the long term could easily hurt Border town's American dream that Roland had worked so hard to achieve. Possibly, Your Highness, we've confirmed her identity. There are no peoples as answers line with what the honeysuckles see eldest said. Told guys were being too careful. Nevertheless, this level of caution is necessary. Your Highness, personal safety will always be first and foremost priority. A cloud merge. Alright, bring her here then. Don't be afraid, this is His Royal Highness Roland. You as young girl, completely new place, she probably a state of constant panic and most likely required lengthy period to acclimate to her new environment. The girl was neither like Agatha resilient and adaptable nor like Anna determined and firm of heart. Even Mystery Moon and Lily, whose situations most resembled hers, had the sisterhood and companionship of the Union anyway. There's no rush to test her ability. We slowly learn about it as she becomes familiarized with this place. She must be exhausted from the long journey. Don't take her for bath first and let her rest a while. Arrange for her to the witch's building. As for any instructions she requires with respect to magic, I'm leave that to you. Alright, of course, as wish. Righteousness coolly stay. Gad. Come your eyes, I'm turning water on. Okay. Albanian. Have to say Mathis Highness' decision to gather bath was truly great, that the took care of Leaf, Lily and comforted new sisters to entered the mutual ad association so that they would not be so panicked and disturbed. However, since coming to Border town, everyone's reshape changed drastically and everyone no longer needs to worry about survival. One isn't, that is not good. Also very grateful for everything that His HKGTNESSHAS done for the sisters. Is just that there. So which woo needs to be taken care of. Makes me feel a bit disappointed. Coemerge.com now finally relied on the joy of Beng's sister. What poor fortunately she is with as long assume takes good care. Stew will return to normal soon. Okay, isn't that hot anymore? Let's take bath. A cloudmerge.com. Okay. Albanian room wean out were wit a cloudmerge.com. 2 years ago the winter, just like now. That's not surprising, most with ES awakened during Lamont plus S of T demons according to rumors during This period of that magic power most abundant, isn't it demonic magic power? Of course not. Becoming witch is very normal asses from having the ablates to do some this both her people can't magnet we are no different from your everyday normal person should know that safari 100 years ago witches were even vowed as those blessed gods really. Magic power type of natural energy just like the ever-present Albanian. Well sort of T-sun has the when it sets but magic power always there all regard it as extension of your self-extension tats constantly growing. That's right your magic power grow you do becoming increasingly powerful order. To accommodate its growth must also increase limits of your own body otherwise there be backlash. The church abused this very fact damn that witches were beng devoured energy of devil widen reality. It couldn't be aphid. Along as continuously practice your control of your powers even your magic power grows there be. Need to worry about it harming your awakened body 2 years ago must have already experienced day of awakening already back the must have hurt lot act dwdge.com don't worry now that you've armed border town everything will be better. Along as make most of this and practice this year's day of awakening will be quick and painless. Okay Albanian. Heard there was new sister where Mystery Moon's anxious to see her obviously want to see is goofy to take shower now what we've to use abilities this afternoon don't worry there no harm resting for day his highness probably won't need for anything after all you're not missed Anna. Traitor. This is the new witch look around the same age as me but Alan still call me big sister would she? Call big sister if she's around the same age as you and how come you've never called me that? Traitors rebound. They're both witches of border town may think they are open but when they first arrived here they were both just like you especially Mystery Moon she wasn't much braver than you always speaking with very quiet and soft little voice. Ahem. Was just worried his highness would look down on me for having such weak magic power hashish. Geishas told me several times your power has crudely unexplored potential along as finish reading and learning elementary tasks. It evolves to something surpassing your oldest dreams the time she's done learning all the weird theories and formulas that Book Highness Roland will probably have already conquered and unified all of Grey Castle and won't even need the witches' help anymore traitor. Aloalm.com. Oh that's right what kind of power does paper have? Melting snow. Anything else freeze the melted snow back into ice not and also _Albanian. Also make hot water cool really fast. Temperature manipulation then but melting snow is adding heat whereas cooling water is removing it. Yet the two processes can't be reversed so it's probably not temperature control have only tried your power with water. Albanian with other things the difference is very small. Using this I'll Aloalbui oh. What? The bubble disappeared what is this ability? I promise to continue to serve you and so will the honeysuckle family I will convince father he is different from the rest of the family. Yes that sounds good. Over the last few days I have witnessed the amazing transformation of your territory and I think this is the city I was hoping for if we could make the honeysuckle as prosperous as this father would not mind the family become one with the new city. Surely given time every square of land the green castle could be trash formed into come portable place for people to live. Then I should leave as soon as possible and return to the fortress to tell father the news the new city shall have all the other 4 great families and all the nobles of the western region that are willing to accept these conditions may call banquet the fortress and spread words are asking me to pass on the message to them. Yes, will be ambush saver this time. Yes, your highness the way you've done good job with the witch issue and now there's no need to cover it this point with universal education all those who still have faith the church be red moved. From the western region it is to decide what to do. Well the meeting is over and the construction of the maritime fleet has been ordered to Carl. I've got the aft turnian free so not for walk the garden moreover the girls usually practice there skills the garden and the newly arrived paper is probably one of them. From Wendy's report her powers are neither temp creature regular ton nor substance reduction Addition to water, it also has effect on other compounds. I have to see this person. This. The plant's a little too big. It felt like passing through the inside of gigantic organism. It is like the whole garden is breathing __. Your Highness, we are here. What happened? Leaf's power has evolved. And she has become the garden. What where is she has become so one with the plant that what see front of is part of the leaf. I hope that she read verse it. Once the Alicia removed be a return formal. If listen carefully, it is the rustle of shifting leaves and the scraping of branches that blend to gather to form the words here. Acts not only hear but see, smell and touch. I feel any hint of change. The garden, including birds building nests on the girders, bugs crawling on the trunks of the trees. It is differed cult to describe this feeling words. Mistress Till is right. I now the garden itself. From the moment walked here I was aware of you. It turns out that these were taken from local ingredients. The garden. It smells so good. How did manage all of this? The process wasn't quite clear to me. I just tended to the newly planted crops and your flying messengers as usual, practicing abilities. The process, and then they answered call. Hiss _ perhaps the path of synthesis that I have been searching for, to turn to the jungle and the life it nurtures into true unity. What if cast your powers the lost forest, make it part of too? I don't think so, and even if I could _ would take long time. It doesn't take much magic to maintain this state, and the woods even red punish it for me, but each time I extend the range of control I feel mind slowing your mind. I don't know how to describe the feeling that if I slowly expand contour, I should be able to become one with the lost forest, but I fear I will lose mind if I blend. Instantly the very first mirror into the garden created the feeling of not having enough space head. As if mind had _ suddenly become incredibly wide open. And it took me long time to get used to it, but plants that have already been controlled do not have this rustiness when they are messed again and be achieved with simple turn of thought. It's incredible. Compared to Anna and Lily, who evolved microcosmic direction, the new power of the leaf is clearly break through the macrocosm. If she could one day control the whole of the forest, no one could escape her notice. Congratulations, the of witches now has one more evolved witch, which act according to Geisha is the size of half the Federation. If she were here she would have been denial for while. Where is paper? I'm afraid that her ability needs to be further tested. However, I have discovered strange phenomenon. It's that convenient. I'm mentoring her on regulating the amount of magic power she uses to get more stabilized release of power. Just like how mentored me. Even though she still hasn't mastered it, the result of her ability is more or less the same. Oh. Laptop. Whoosh. Here using your power on this. This I __. Time acceleration, not time, is only concept created humans for convenience. It doesn't really exist. Something that doesn't exist, how would possibly interact with it? First I also thought it was time manipulation, but Lady Till said that that's not it. Utah. If it sped time, shouldn't the pendulum be going faster? Ooh hash. That's true, it doesn't look like she's affecting time, but rather the activity of the particles. Her magic changes the energy of the particles, and to the naked eye it shows as freezing and melting. Of course paper couldn't possibly know this, she's only releasing her magic field, so that's it has little effect on other objects. Oxidation is after all very long process. To see results we would have to wait for quite some time. If guess is correct, that means her ability is essentially natural catalyst. After paper's ability stabilizes, and she learns to control it to more precise degrees, it looks like the chemistry field will get massive boost. Production of sulfuric acid and nitric acid has been going well. And we already have general concept of explosive production. As soon as we increase the production of ammunition, it wouldn't be hard to develop new generation of automatic firearms. You there? Here again, I'll handle it. Zip. Be safe, don't worry, they can't touch me. With this much snow, the witches must really be bored staying inside all day, especially those combat type witches Till brought over there just itching for fights, so they boast their skills. Or maybe they're competing for hierarchy. Nightingale was ready to go as soon as the alarms went off. So that's how combat type witches rile each other. If only she put this much effort into her studies. They go out and fight to quell their boredom. But it looks like the type witches aren't lucky. It's time to make few things for entertainment. Your Highness, any new missions for me? Have been busy recently. Not did ask. Recently there have been lot less people working the factory now. It only takes me half day to coat what they produce. I was only busy that time I helped Chief Alchemist Kyle with those metal boxes. But compared to idling around the camp back the Cooperation Association, I'd much rather live the fulfilling life I have right now. Plus I'm very happy that power be used to help you. Wow, that smile. Ahem. I called here because I wanted to make some new cards, more cards for Quint. Not guys are probably bored with that now. The rules were really simple, and if figure out your opponent's best card, the game is pretty much over. Ah, that's true. The new cards will look like this. They're pretty simple. There are 4 suits. And they're numbered 1 to 13. Finish it off with small and large joker for total of 54 cards. Much. Okay, let me. Wow. I just got wave of nostalgia. Every New Year's Eve we played cards and watched lighting fireworks. Until they came up. Compared to Mahjong, all needed was deck of cards. With all the different ways to play, it must have been the most popular game the world. There are a lot of ways to play, but let's start with something simple. Tell Anna to come, I'll teach. Landlord. Landlord. Tiny Landlord is the most common card game. China. Hearth. You're so respectfully, it really shows your history as the Western region first night know about that. Huh. Of course that's no secret here. Border Town son and daughter are both big fans of you. When we learned that we're coming, son was even ranting about becoming knight when he grows up. That's all the past. Besides, His Highness doesn't need knights anymore. We have the first army after all. Back then someone like me wouldn't dare to even talk to you. Right when I was still knight, many commoners would avoid eye contact, and some were even afraid of me. The only person that disregarded status and treated me like everyone else was Irene's son. I thought was only change of who was the lord. I never expected him to be someone that educated. The people earning their respect as well as own. People aren't hiding from me anymore, and they're wanting to chat with me instead. That's the thing I appreciate the most. Next our turn. Hey instructor, feeling better? You're part of the city hall. I became apprentice, the administration division. I'm working agriculture right now. Congrats on the position. Ill buy medium size bag of wheat here. Money, and I'd got it medium wheat. Bonk. Teacher, come visit sometime. Alright. I've seen her portrait. The Central Hall of Family Ancestors. How is she alive? Sorry for keeping waiting. I decided to pick out some eggs, and I also bought bag of butter. Did finish buying the wheat. Feeling Irene. What's with you? No, nothing. Toxic. Are no longer part of the Else family. So for what reason have returned? Huff. Do lack money for the winter. I may provide with that, but leave on your own accord afterward. Brother, so I'm not here for money, nor do I care about fighting for the throne. Prince Roland has hired me to be instructor. Things are going very well for me. Instructor? I don't remember having the wits to instruct any nobles on anything. Brother, I'm not teaching nobles. Students are commoners. Learn to and write. Commoners. Cut the care. Must have gone delusional after being with that commoner wife of yours. Enough. Lady Irene is not inferior to the nobles. All she is missing is title. Don't make fool out of yourself. Father. Father, long time no see. The guards say being news. Yes, then come with me to the room. Yes. I saw your wife perform the Stronghold Theatre. She has good complexion and her acting isn't inferior to Miss May either. Two must be living happily. Yes, we have house back Border Town, and we plan to have child after the months of demons. That's good. Coming here from Border Town isn't easy. The winter. Yes, what news to bring? I encountered Lady the Town, and she looks exactly like the painting the hall. What, the rarely seen blue hair, fair face? I'm sure I'm not mistaken. Could she be descendant of the person tub painting? Descendant? Not, she couldn't possibly. Is that so? Then maybe I'm wrong. She couldn't be descendants, but it could be the same person. East. Let's see. Oh, she lived for hundreds of years. Hang. 4. Coolie chapter in #P. China literature Rift Woodman fill in +P. China literature visit cream #I.E.+MFR_ancillary. Irene. Actually the price is wait, just take any piece, not prefer the lean meat. But the flavors won't be as rich without some fat. The best cut has to have layer of fat and layer of meat, which is also great for cutting into strips. And frying I need to pick carefully. Okay, take your time, I'll go buy bag of wheat. The line looks pretty long over there, come find me after you'd done. Okay. Maintain order the line. Our instructor feeling good afternoon, you're also here to buy wheat here. Take spot the line, not don't need to do that. I'll just go to the back. Bonobo chapter yep. China literature Rift a Woodman hull in #P. China literature hilt. At Ismxit, Komali mixkift _azilian at Kluayaj when we're young always like to drill into the basement. And of course were beaten me, it's not that deliberately be strict with you but because the precious legacy of ancestors is preserved here. Ahem. These are the stones of God's punishment. Is the Else family actually so wealthy? Having said that, the treasure map dedicated to His Highness Roland seems to have been uncovered from the basement. Allele BSWU Seagull. Agloud merge got this Give not been here for very long time. Every time see these magic stones would remember the past events which ancestors told me about. Magic stones Elua were. Yes, they are treasures which only witches are able to use. This is long story. Family was established under the blessings of witch Alakusum. The first site ancestor was not person from the west but came from the untouched wilderness after the desperate mountains. The ruling witches established huge kingdom on that vast land. However, due to the attack of the devil hell, the kingdom perished and the survivors fled. Family's founder ancestor Agatha group of people went to the stone tower, the hidden forest, to fetch experimental materials, and another group followed the troops to Grey Castle. Ancestors were among them. Asa housekeeper, he was supposed to go to the forest with her Agatha Sam. But he flinched and offered to stay and take care of the supplies. The witch agreed to his request. But know that the butler should live and die with his master, no matter what the situation is. Since proposing to leave was equivalent to betraying the master, even if she did not refuse. When he married Western region, he began to feel remorse for what he did and recorded his sentiments. Book Aluanai. The end. The witch did not return, and after that he severed the contact with the Federation. After that he broke off from the Union and left the refugee camp. He took many servants with him and settled down on this piece of land which was yet to be cultivated. So does that mean that knew from the beginning that everything the lid did wrong? Knew but couldn't do anything. If witch was found, territory would definitely help to hide her. But the stronghold weren't able to do so because of Duke Ryan's disagreement. He hated witches more than the church did. Addition from the records of some of later ancestors, it's evident that they did the same thing as me, except that they never informed the survivors about what happened. The witch's kingdom, but hey, are human after all. And they will get old, barren. But believe that first ancestor could still be living. This is only possibility. Witch have many different abilities but are liable to breed children, hence made this supposition. Act emerge. The ancestors also wrote little, the hoping that the future there will be children and grandchildren to the hidden forest stone tower, even if it is just glance. After the years past, the writing on it has become blurred. But the regret between the lines still be felt, as former knight feel the same way. Tirum do need me to find her. If she's indeed Agatha, then she must be staying the prince's castle, and as far as no many witches will are also gathered there. Witches are gathered the castle. No wonder that longing stronghold made announcement to recruit witches few days ago. It seems that His Highness is intent on becoming enemy of the church. Not don't have to find her, don't want to see her. Agloud merge gunner. It's wrong for ancestor to visit descendants. Of course we should be the ones to visit her. Indeed, following to border town, bring all of these things if she's really Agatha. Ancestor's last wish may finally be fulfilled. Elwood. What are they? Album. Any guesses? If get it right, extra ice cream bread for dinner. Watch. Ice cream bread. Does this supply water to rooms? Alarm. Puff. Of course not. A cloud mergium. What shallow opinion, who needs such big pipe for water supply? His Highness would never do such pointless thing. Incision. It was exactly the same as thought. Miss Nightingale is very skillful and belonged to the same noble background, and her hair color is very close. For several sniper battles against mixed species evil beasts on the wall, she also recognized ability and shared dried fish with me. Among the Witch League she is the most aristocratic. Most importantly, she didn't want to see Ashes either, although you don't know how Ashes offended her when he first came to Border Town. But the enemy's enemies are friends. Writer cloudmerge.com. You're talking as if you know the answer. Course no. Give been the office when His Highness was drafting the design drawings. All of his plans were drafted front of very eyes. HHH. It's not fair. She doesn't take part the quiz. Thought hint, for all these pipes are only parts of the system. May want to look else. Car order to better figure out the answer. Check it out now. Let's take loot. What exactly is this? I'll share half of the dinner bread with. If got it right. Don't know either, but just said that had gone through all the designs, didn't you? Yeah, just like natural science. Theoretical foundation. Even if understand the individual words on it, understand them when they're put together. Afraid only Anna has the ability to understand His Highness' intention simply looking his drawings. If ask her, she'll definitely tell the answer. 2. The transformation kinetic energy in ideal states. No underscore. Don't think very good facing girls like Anna, since can't ask the answer, only rely on myself. Bring point the falling parade. Correct her. The high orbit throw angle calculations. Avail a cloud merge. The copper pipe is also separated. Right angle iron fence. Is it afraid that people will touch the pipe if it wants? For the presence of barbarians like Ashes, even if someone touched them it probably wouldn't be big deal. What is this again? Is it used to boil hot water? But if the pipe is used to transport hot water, there is no need to make it so big. Don't understand. Really don't understand. The heating system. The castle is officially launched from today. Heating system Cloudera. Yes, water will be boiled. The boiler and the high temperature steam will enter the rooms through the pipes and increase the temperature there. As long as the doors and windows are closed, the whole room be warmed pretty quickly, comparing to fire barrels that are too here to move and require good airflow to prevent anthracene. The new heating system doesn't have such concerns. All it'll make feel as warm as spring while sleeping. Kiki. So warm, don't want to go home anymore. The ice cream breadwinners are addition to Anna, Sorry and Hummingbird, who were participating the installation of the heating system. There was only one person who guessed it right, and it was Till at HCO. Welcome everyone to this open class. Today we will be discussing the production of nitrogen gas. What goodies are cooking here? Cool lit Xiaolong Bao. Looks like that thing that makes soup dumplings. Kyle Litchi shall explain the process. According to the records elementary chemistry, there are many different gases. The surrounding air. Now is the time to utilize them. Nitrogen and oxygen make about of the air we breathe. But we need to separate the two gases for chemical production. Oh, looks like he's nervous. Alchemy mentors pretty only pass their knowledge down to chosen apprentices, but having open class like this, it's new to everyone. This process requires the air to undergo condensation from Agatha's cooling. Since nitrogen gas has lower boiling point, it boils of solution before the oxygen does. When I lower the temperature inside the vessel, the gases condense into liquid and dip through the perforated separator into the lowest layer. Alright, thank for your work collecting the product. Pleasure. Agatha, please begin. Looks like I was worried over nothing. I thought these two would completely wreck the lab from butting heads all their time. Wait second, how come they treat each other even better than when they talk to me? Sylvie, just like what Agatha said. Tell us when see liquid collecting the bottom. The liquid forming is actually visible. It wouldn't just be the water vapor. The tank. Right, don't worry, the liquefied gas will be light blue. And it will look completely different from the water condensing. Besides, these temperatures are far lower than the freezing point of water, so it'll just be ice crystals. I'm starting. Veto. Noose. Kohosh. Let me melt away the frost. I see the liquid on the separator, but there's lot more white frost. The white frost could be water vapor, but it could also be ice carbon dioxide crystals, judging From the low concentration of carbon dioxide, the air thought it should mostly be water. The blue liquid is appearing the bottom. The air intake has been sealed. Time to raise the temp to erasure. This step is key because the boiling points of the two gases are different. The nitrogen should evaporate first and escape. Imogen O. Nitrogen. I don't remember the specific temperatures, nor do I have method of measuring this the moment, so Agatha has to control it herself. Good thing Agatha isn't stranger when it comes to magic control. She precisely shifts the magnitude of her cooling to slowly warm the liquid back up. The liquid looks like it's boiling. Burgle gurgle. Hustle. I collected the gas using the water displacement method. That was fast as expected. Chief alchemist seldom / swish. Hustle. That's the nitrogen gas. Can't even see anything. This brings question I mentioned earlier. How do we prove it's not just atmospheric air? 5 Elementary chemistry states that fires realize oxygen. If it's different gas, it will quickly extinguish. Burning piece of woods. We'll know if we cool it back into liquid. Didn't say nitrogen is colorless as liquid. Or we extract the remaining liquid, the container, prove that it is pure oxygen, and also prove that air is made of multiple gases the same time. As if guys were tequila would be good enough to join the federation. You're expected like strong looks. Anna also. Noah, such dense academic atmosphere. Amazing. What gas? Something. Don't get it. Fire me too. What is this gibberish? Yes, I an axe understand. Even though I don't get word, it sounds really cool. Yes, His Highness is always right. Alright, looks like this class was a bit over their limits. Your Highness, you've proven the validity of elementary chemistry. Even the best alchemists would never have thought that the around us is actually this complex. Boom. With pure oxygen, would it be possible to witness more intense oxidation reactions? I have few ideas. AK. Lush. _air. Now that we have pure nitrogen and oxygen, not directly start production of nitric oxide. The common process uses ammonia gas to produce nitric acid using electrosynthesis, which instantly heats the gas to temperature of several thousand degrees. Annal's black flame isn't any lower temperature, and it wouldn't be too tiring for her. If we mix ratio of pure oxygen and nitrogen sealed reaction chamber, we endlessly produce nitric oxide. It's worth. Looks like the amount of things Anna helps me with increases again. Orthodox Adobe BAII carrot it. Visit even China literature Riatistru. Look, the witches are here. They're so beautiful. With how they describe them, you'd expect them to look ugly or frightening. That's all you're paying attention to. Remember her, the one with the big sword. She once shot the hybrid beast. It's not like weren't here last time. If only I was that powerful. Shush, if it's actually power from the demons. What, mama? Anna, also witch are trying to say that demon. If you even think about saying that front of seniors, promise you'll have more than few bruises the next Vagi. She has divine power and is the angel of town. Got that? Now pay attention and get ready for the fight. This isn't training. Yes, sir. Geez. Wait, what is that thing? Spoon? Is it tortoise hybrid? I can't see. Grow. What the gods are that hell spawn? The rifles are useless against that. Only that big thing. The cannon squad has stopped it. Room. Test. It missed. Don't panic. Prioritize the beast's rifle range. It didn't hit. We need to got. No problem. Like always, cover me. They're taking on that monstrosity. Altogether they're about as big as its hands. They really do it with magic power alone. Soma. Chatham fast. Doesn't it need to reload? Bane. This monster from the depths of hell, was slain just like that. Theme. We killed it even though we weren't the ones that killed it. Still counts. Go. Even something this vicious and terrifying doesn't stand chance against the inventions of His Highness the Prince. Goodness, thank it. Long live His Highness the Prince. Long live His Highness. That's impossible. Isn't this hell spawn fearsome beast? What's that type of hybrid beast? They've appeared the fertile plain region before. Yes, they are formidable threat when they appear. Groups, whether they're fighting witches or demons. Quite few towns were flattened. The hell spawn fearsome beasts. But they only appear as the bloody moon itself is close to appearing as no. The bloody moon signifies the start of every battle of divine will and magic power surges when it appears, while it Does being peak of new witches awakening demons and demonic beasts also gain surge of strength? Give analyzed the record book gave to me, and from the years I estimated that it should have been another 20 to 50 years until the next bloody moon. It should be impossible for these monsters to appears. But they're here, so what does it mean? It means we don't have time. 5 years most, thank good. Sorry about that, think 5 years is long time. The first and second battle of Divine will both followed the same time pattern. But now it's sooner, and or time could shrink even further. Thought we're going to say the bloody moon would arrive this years, but with 5-year plan land population and resources will all develop drastically. Addition, the development of tactics and planning would allow to temporarily retreat when necessary. To preserve vitality, the moment the main goal is to construct 2 or 3 industrial cities to provide constant source of soldiers, weapons and food for all forces. Resources will guarantee victory. And people will provide touch de conseil. And the end, it looks like education and employment needs rapid develop. Went, hey, if we fill the town with weapons like this one before the bloody moon arrives, we might have chance defending against the demons here. From what Kyle Litchi said, the stuff I'm making the laboratory is part of the cannon, right? Then I'll do best to provide liquid nitrogen and oxygen, just please. Don't worry, we will defeat the demons. Woods did in plus P. Visit China literature. Hearth. So warm it's like here and the outside a world apart. Ace on 8, I'm out too. On ace win watch. Ash has the most cards left with 6, give me that ice cream slip. Here. Need Evelyn want to join? What is this? It's betting. Whoever loses the most slips has to give their ice cream bread to the winner. Want to have got a folk way to comfortable with this cardoon. The exams ape coming up, you're not going to study those basic introduction courses give. It's all pretty simple, wouldn't even need to the textbook. That's right, Andrea is noble, her knowledge must be cut above us commoners. Ash and Shave both also know how to and write. Somehow I'm still the one furthest behind. I will pass, guys, keep going, I'll go study room. Alright, okay, let's continue. The battle till dawn, 3+1, hurry up, flowers will wilt the rate you're going. Rocket Bahai. Hook, His Highness Roland said that after today's exam the schoolwork for term 1 comes to close. To celebrate, everyone gets portion of ice cream bread. But I'm getting far more than just one with the slips Ash and Shave lost to me. As long as His Highness gives them their treat, they have to give it to me. Respected Lady Andrea, please enjoy. This day is great, 3 portions of ice cream bread dinner. All for me. I'm going to be stuffed. This exam will be piece cake. After all, I'm the genius of the family, was able to do the financial records when I was only 15. Do everything to the best of your ability as any noble should. It started. Is there comprehension and fill in the blanks? I haven't even seen questions like these before. First page done. Flip, what does that mean? 2 perpendicular lines with points, describe it using equations. Coordinates y underscore eerie tilde sub edible jet. Don't I know what the sentence means when I every word write? Nightingale's right behind me as fellow noble. I wonder if she would give me hint. Even don't. 3 times 7 is 21. 4 times 7 is 28. 3 short 1 long, take the long, 3 long 1 short, take the short. Cool, guys, how would get the answer like that? Ash. Even extraordinary is totally lost. Underscore. Wait, I trying to get help from that idiot who only has muscles and more muscles. Suddenly I'm not so excited for ice cream bread anymore. Sometimes tests is pretty. Find all sorts of exotic answers or glimpses into the student's agony and boredom while taking the test, trying to recharge their exhausted minds with few doodles. Your Highness Nightingale, did Anna not need to take the test? Isn't this the end of the first terms? All the sisters of the witch should take it. Well, that's because she wrote the test along with scroll underscore. What about your sister? Tilly. Acted as the test reviewer, she took it before everyone else to check for any mistakes. The way she got everything right, oh alright. The Sleeping Island witches did show improvement on the exam. Candle, Evelyn and Sylvie, who all decided to stay, also all passed. Out of them, Evelyn improved the most, going from her 5 points last time to 62 this time. Although her score is still lower than the other two, it's obvious she put a lot of effort. The 3 new battle type witches all scored low, none of them were above 50. It's probably because they haven't been here for long and literacy was less important this time, so their low scores are understandable. Nightingale thought she was class right along with everyone else. But somehow she scored even lower than last time. Looks like learning really is talent sometimes. Just can't force it. Maggie's score was strange, thought she only got few right mathematics and I have no idea what she even did. Size, quit. But she somehow got 9 right out of 10 multiple choice. I wonder how she did it. A Sutter. Cool, I'm so lucky. Another double yoke. What? You're always so lucky. Cool coolie ra Susie. I've Ismit China Literature LRB to Trippy Die. Bonobo Day Chapter China Literature Rifter Woodman ITP. China Literature Hilt. At Ismxit Komali Mix Kiftazilla allowed merge chord help me. God is on, let me free. The last time came here it was to secretly execute the king of Grey Castle. Wimbledon Iris, and this time Elo Unsum. How does the tribunal's sermon whip feel? Hope that this teaches the meaning of obedience. So the Supreme Pontiff has come. Do mean obedience towards you or towards the bishop's obedience? Towards me. When asked to assist another bishop to complete mission, have to obey their orders. Is that all? If this is what demand, agree to it. Release her? Yes. Delhusuum cement a cloud merge on have task for you. Follow me. Lolrubum. This year's months of demons could be as long as 5 months. This is daunting challenge for the Holy City and even more so for other places that are affected. The months of demons order to follow the other pure witches to the kingdom of Grey Castle. So kill the rebels Timothy and Roland Wimbledon, taking advantage of the disorder brought about to hear snow. Do understand Puff, do understand. It seems that the whipping hasn't taught her to obey. Alcalucom Menetrius Core. Here is. Was this the old holy city where first became believer Aloalianum Manor? So this is the most prominent place. Your memories. It's pretty nice place. 0 are insane. How dare use your abilities against me? Know exactly what doing. It's you who is still confused. It's a long there's than enough your subconscious world for I explain this to it the battlefield to slowly of souls fighting consciousness alone the world of the corroded tilde cloudera. The victor would gain everything while the defeated would lose it all. This is also extremely rare type of summoning power. If you don't wear the stone of God's punishment, it is almost. But damn it, clearly wearing God's stone, Akalulu of retaliation. Are talking about the stone. Basically its sphere of influence has been removed. Of course mortal won't be able to feel the difference. That's the pure witch Isabella if knew how unreliable these tools were would have added them to the God's punishment army when was appointed. Wilbur A. Cloud Merge. When did this happen? How could know when she struck since put me cell to teach me lesson only asked her to do it and that's all. What do want to doing this just to get back me for punishment even if kill me? The entire cave below your cage is the influence area of God's stones, so have nowhere to run as soon as the elevator stops. You'll be spotted and captured. The waiting verdict warriors don't even dream of escaping this cell. Because when they start interrogating you'll feel like the days of whipping is just tickles to you. Liam not going to run away. Want to replace and become the Pope? All fierce pure witch as the Pope have quite imagination. I'm the one who was crowned as Foff and Frony of all believers. If kill me, do think they would accept you? Don't need to appear front of everyone because just have mouthpiece to act as the Pope. See his Holiness O'Brien also stayed the pivotal secret temple most of the time and would wear mask on the rare occasions he came out. Alalucom this case who could tell that the Pope was actually someone else. Won't be able to keep your ruse for long. Didn't hear what just said. As soon as your cage hits the ground when the verdict warriors realize I'm not here they'll immediately arrest you. If let me out right now still forget that ever did such reckless thing. As soon as the battle of souls you begins it won't ever end. Also were wrong from the beginning. Because they won't arrest me. What does that mean? Alo alavazum. Even giving up may also be twist choice. Sorry child. So finally understand alkyl. This is the battlefield His Holiness arranged for us, so whoever survives acid o pour a cocoa. Bonobo chapter China Literature Rift Woodman Hull in #p. China Literature Hilt Limit. Yemilia plus gift auxiliar agent. How? How could this be? Don't be so upset, Lord. Maybe the church was originally founded the Union anyway. So His Holiness only did this so that the witches could get back what was theirs if win also get memories and experiences wealth accumulated over the past years if win were to plan to lead the church to victory or destruction, just not towards the Fjord Islands. Think no one knows about your secret orders right before great battle sent resources to thee of kingdom of overwinter to repair ships and sailors key as expected, Lord. Maybe who was acting cautiously after accepted the scepter front of all those believers started thinking about your own Mouton future. Lost your will to win the battle of divine will before it even began. Do think mortal like role earn the approval of God. What approval of God if His approval was really protecting us were the humans suffering defeat after defeat? Moreover, we need to rely on God's punishment army to battle the demons. So time is of the essence, and there's nothing don't forget that to change that. It was your kind who failed us years ago. The witches are also only small group. This battle will decide the survival of all the mankind. So everyone needs to be involved. Men, women, the elderly and children will all become honored warriors and join the fight against the demons, or else they'll all die. Want to feed all of them pills of madness. Exactly, one enchanted person is no match for God's punishment warrior, but what about 10? Not only is there currently steady supply of demonic beasts running AR rampant, but the pivotal secret area might also be able to invent few new formulas. In 5 years later the church will have supply of around 3 to 4 million impair pills. It means that besides God's punishment army, the holy city also send out army of millions of maddened men to participate the battle against demons. Red insane. Pure witch raised the church would never say such thing. Your head has been taken back. Those bastards. Accepting knowledge is part of the process of self-change. And only the exchange of thoughts bring progress. Perhaps we should stop chatting and decide who the ruler of the what is the use of the demon-splitting arrow for me? Don't bet on winning built this world mug, but wig need. This is the demonic mist hidden the pivotal areas traps and only affects witches with magic power. If fill the entire square with it, be left to suffer endlessly and die 1,000 times. Merge.com Zealand. Is that so? Of course the new pope has some tricks his sleeve if headed straight to the library of the pivotal secret temple. The beginning this battle would be even more difficult. But this is also the fun part of the battle of souls. Is that stone of wind power? That care use pills even. Oh, wise choice. Your biggest weakness is your fighting ability, so the duo-colored pill increase your strength, agility and pain tolerance, so it's much harder for me to attack from afar with weapons such as crossbow bolts, but submerge on that sword is. Yes, should be familiar with it. After all, absorbing memories, watching and learning are also talents of mine. Magic. What kind of ability is this? AlkaranGE.com. I milk. 8th. Cum. Sulaiman. A cloud merge gown. Telex. Long live the new pope, may the glory of the gods be with you. Serene cloud merge got Woods tribe limit. China literature. Axazai trippy. Bonobo duh chapter yep. China literature rift a Woodman Hill ITP. China literature hilt limit Comex LLIEMX KIFT underscore Aniline 1. If it's too hot, take off your coats. There's heating the castle, so it's much warmer here than it's outside. Don't make yourself sick. A heating mid-air underscore. It's new type of heating equipment that's much better than fireplace. Heard came here for Agatha E. Think Pulse Eco should do her the courtesy of taking off that God's stone of retaliation you're wearing. This is also basic etiquette for her. Ah, you're right. Do summon me back. Mule. The battle of divine will is looming and need all the time have to produce weapons to fight battle. If it isn't important, just send someone to tell me. Could it be because of working with the chief alchemist? Her words and deeds have gradually become more ambitious. Ahem, this is very important matter day. Remember when Tequila was on the verge of collapse years ago that one group of servants was separated from and followed the masses to the south of the impassable mountain range. Servant think so. What kind of important matter is this? It happened long time ago. You really a Lady Agatha? And a direct? My descendant of Agar. Do still remember that name Agar? Underscore of course gave him that name. Purchased two mortal servants and named one Taffy who was the head of family guards. And the other Agar who was housekeeper. So you're the descendants of that housekeeper who snuck away with magic stones and experiment notes. Snuck away, not the melon. Get out. Don't ever want to see again. Wait minute Agatha I Quawade. Cone. Agatha. Father mourn. Tell what's going on. Both sides are telling the truth. What was spoken truthfully want necessarily the truth, but only what one thought was true. It seemed that the issue lay their family history book since came this way from longing stronghold. Don't go back so soon. Mesa Maria us all. Stay Merlin's house for a couple of days and tour the scenery of this town to ask here about the situation and maybe we'll get to talk again. Is that true? Then must trouble your highness. It seems that the blow to him was too hard. Man, the way where are the magic stones and ancient books that brought? There's more than 10 boxes. Great, let's on boat bring them all to the castle. Think she'll soften little after seeing all of her things that survived for over years. Wow. It doesn't look dangerous. It is opened. Should give Duke else chance to explain himself. No matter what tour housekeeper did, this is trying to return your belongings to you. And he may even be trying to right his ancestors ahead. Wrongs housekeeper deceived his descendants. So this doesn't owe me anything. Also, which families mean nothing now. They belong to the nobility of the western region, right? If accept them it would make things difficult for you because want to seize all the ruling authority of the western region for yourself, don't you? Alright, that makes sense, but don't seem to blame them. Shouldn't place anger towards mortal from years ago onto his descendants, especially if they don't know what happened. That case I'll explain it to them. Do have any interest going through your belongings? They're not gel mine, they're the Quest Society's belongings. Said that they were all transformed from God's stone of retaliation. So stone this big must be worth or gold royals or gold royals. Magic stones only be produced chaos beasts. So every piece is practically priceless. What kind of magic stones are these? They don't seem easy to carry. Traveled stones of light. It's too bright. Jikisik more than half of these are stones of light besides the ones produce the chaos beasts. The rest were all battle spoils we gained from attacking devil's towns. Noah, so many before entering the electricity age. This thing is simply excellent lighting tools. How were the magic stones made into different sizes if they were all God's stones of retaliation? Then they couldn't be cut with magic power. Grady at you don't need to play at T Weather and Moray. But the block of God's stone of retaliation was extremely hard and couldn't possibly be cut with knives. Either entire block are talking about the Go's stone of retaliation veins tested its right under border town's mines. Its surface is very hard and even flintlock only leave tiny dent. It we also rely on that drawing to find your experimental tower. Yes, it really was used. The Quest Society fell to mark the God's stone of retaliation vein and was chosen location for the next holy city. Holy city location woods. Okay, fab. Visit eyes China literature Chewy. Bonobo Day chapter China literature Rift EA Woodman China literature Hilt limit Comex. Ilium X KMT and Zilia Agileltk. These supposed holy cities are all built on top of God's stone of retaliation veins. We needed the lot of God's stones of retaliation to research the relationship between magic power and magic stones and also to prevent large-scale damage conflicts between witches. It was the same case with the Barbarian Ridge, the impassable mountain range. Now refer to it as the Hermes Plateau, where the church's holy city is now. The church also continued using the term holy city, so it is even more possible that they are the descendants of the Union Dreidel. Yes, if we weren't defeated so quickly, the Battle of Divine Will. New holy city would be built on being Mountain Ferric Cloudmerge. Thank goodness they didn't build the church's holy city western Region MHNIILIEEM, otherwise have to develop productivity while guarding against the church stealing. Towers. Thinking about it scalp numbs anyway. The god's stone of retaliation is basically indestructible. So cutting it requires special solution. It contains the blood of witches with magic power, or the blood of demons. Blood, yes, and the amount of blood needed depends on the stone. The holy city. All adult Weekers were required to donate blood. Once it leaves the body, the blood lost magic power very Udo got quickly, so it must be used on the spot every 2 or 3 years. Eligible witches would be ordered the union to go to the ones and donate blood, and any captured demons would also serve this purpose. Mutjili CWM have done this as well. Of course, even the 3 chiefs of the union were no exception. Steal. What about demonic beasts? Some demonic hybrids also seem to have magic power. Yes, but the levels of their magic power are very low. So their blood only be used to deal with shattered stones. And they have no effect on the actual. After the god's veins stone of retaliation is cut, its hardness will greatly decrease with its size, and its range of impact will shrink as well. For example, the god's stone of retaliation that people carry around with them be easily smashed with hammer. Then, apart from the chaos beast, did the Quest Society find any OTUCDWVC dance magic stones? It's easier said than done. The union once had witch who could turn god's stones of retaliation into regular stones, but all she did was to remove the magic power it wants, nearly enough to even produce the simplest stones of light. See the form of magic power, so should also be able to see the real forms of these crystals, right? Its ball of faint fog. The Quest Society examined and recorded almost witches and magic stones, and they found that most involved magic power came the form of fog, cyclones, blown sandlight balls, and flames. They might look similar, but each had infinite amount of minute differences, which was we believed there were no 2 identical magic powers. Its light is dimming. That's because only channeled small amount of magic power, but once saw stone of light. The fjord ruins that never died. If those underwater ruins belong to you, then also make stone of light shine. For years underwater ruins did some union members go to the swirling sea. It's possible to make stone of light shine forever. But it requires more than witches. Is it transferring magic power? Yes, some witches refill others' magic power or directly exchange the magic power collected from 2 people. This way witch channel much more power than the amount she has her own body and cause magic stone to act continuously. Bellied. However, this method doesn't work on every kind of magic stone. Usually only the stones of mist with the simplest form of magic power be used this way, such as stones of light or echo stones, which aren't much help. Battle issued merge coma so bright tilde war, but they would be very useful. The castle. Think about it, even night the castle be bright. Think they would be more useful. The laboratories, especially if we want to keep producing liquid oxygen night, because open flames are too dangerous. Is she asking to work overtime addition to the 8 hours during the day? What about these books? Are these all lab records? Some of these belong to the general principles. Wanted to save copy ASA. Promotion guide to the new witches who had to reclaim wastelands. Was this embarrassing? Is there any shameful secret written it? This wooden box is little strange at Agelon. What's happening? Is there booby trap? Not there's interlayer. It's the very bottom. Didn't notice it first because thought it was only regular partition cloud. Merge coin. Really, there is mezzanine under the bottom of the box. What is it? Is looks hidden. What would it be? Box. Deuce Krakow. Perhaps the Quest Society did leave with some valuable objects after all. Guild. This can't be possible. This is the sigil of God's will. How did Agar manage to get his hands on this? Did he steal it from the other witches? The Quest Society Gloudmerge cot. Maybe his fleet was attacked and someone entrusted him with. If it's been years, and it doesn't matter who the box belonged to. What on earth is the sigil of God's will? Some magic stones, when pieced together, have extra abilities. Alter their magic powers, properties, or increase their effects. This was the most important topic of research for the Quest Society. Magic stones that are pieced together are called sigil, and the sigil of God's will is the most powerful kind. Its magic stones all come from senior demons, and there are Only 3 or 4 of its kind, all of tequila. Great. Oh, how powerful is it? Is wipes out your entire castle. Boo. Don't worry, it also requires alarming amount of magic power. The more magic stones are on the sigil, the harder it is to activate that time. The only witches who could use the sigil of God's will were the Union's 2 chiefs. Swede a Glaudmerge come mean. Transcendental. Yes, extraordinarily use their magic power differently from ordinary witches, basically practicing all the time. Once they evolve the amount of magic power, their bodies will greatly surpass. What Jipcon. UK, Law Elot Merge. At Rajide, Anna let go of it right now. Eyes. Had ZA Cloud Merge got it? Does use lot of magic power, so probably only use it twice. Mistaken. Bonobo chapter. Yep, China literature rift or 8 woodman in #p. China literature hilt ismit comalium exkit _azillion clot. That's fine paper. Let's enjoy the breakfast together. Milan. Okay, have washed already, want to check. Excellent, you've cleaned already, marked here. Let's go. Okay, there is always someone who is worried and caring about, and there was no need to leave her shack early the morning to find food, and no need to worry that the firewood, the diehard, would be stolen if it was dream. Would rather never wake up, hope to stay this warm place. Come. It's turn. How many cool here? Let me warm first. It's not physical attack. It seems that French sisters are testing out their fighting capacities. It's something that was invented. His Highness eccentric rhetoric. Don't take it too seriously, Elliot. See that silver custom loo. It's said to be relic from the witch's kingdom, which existed more than 400 years ago and was used extraordinarily as battle weapons. Only those with strong magic power summon its might. His Highness has placed it the hall so that everyone test the level of their magic power, or should say, to satisfy the curiosity of sisters, I command the name of the explorer lightning and show your power. Puff. Come on. Those who are able to illumine the 4 magic stones placed on the weapon one breath would be considered to have divinely willed fighting capacity. What illumine 2 magic stones? Am 2.5 cool. The eye actually did better than me. That's impossible cool. Do want to guess? That won't do very well now. Haven't learnt how to imbue magic power into magic stone, let alone summon sigil. But His Highness has stipulated this ASA required cause, though for his green soon be given stone of light to use for practice. Really? What's the matter? Not I at Realcom. Nothing just now. Magic power felt like it wanted to break free. Do remember when became witch? It was probably winter, cannot remember the exact date. It's now the end of autumn and winter will be here few days as we near the day of awakening bodies. Magic power will become active as form of bite. Don't worry about witch from border town. This is not life and death issue. We are here for Orlick. Don't be afraid to call. Thank you. MX a Jelko. That's great paper. From today onwards you're officially member of the Witch Union. Because your practice time is relatively short, it's not guaranteed that the pain of the bite will completely go away, but remember, don't ever think about giving. Come on, and don't lose your sense of awareness. But for paper maybe it's too noisy. Lie not, there is no such thing. You do what listen want to think. Very happy. It's not uncomfortable all. That's good. The way I and your highness or you. Oh. It was sigil collection that was translated from the experimental notes left behind the Quest Society. It recorded all the formulas discovered. The Quest Society over more than years have been studying all night. A sigil really so interesting. Suitskew Peewit AI Tasha Swiss Surfet tilde BSAE Bud USE tilde still Suslick Heart Swiss DD about stashes tie-dye. The Witch's Kingdom possessed many sigils, yet still lost to the demons Dirac. Of course. It's interesting for me. This is new world. There is dazzling list of magic stone uses and combinations, just like assembling rune words. The materials are very simple. All need is piece of echo stone and piece of marking stone combined. Listening symbol. According to the book's description, the effective range of this sigil was dozens of miles. Although it could not compare to the mobile phones of Yuan later ages, which were supported many signal towers and satellites, it could still suffice as walkie-talkie. However, it's written here that echo stones come from fearsome demons and marking stones are Commonly seen Devil's Town. How are going to obtain these two magic stones? Not we already have the materials. The piece of red crystal which lightning found the ruins was echo stone. As for the marking stone, it's one of the composite materials of the sigil of tracking. Till has brought along few of this, and they simply have to be disassembled. Plan to build spellcaster tower beside the witch house and use it for the research and manufacturing of sigil Gegrescion, the ancient witch and mage tower. This feeling is simply too cool and fancy. Bonobo chapter China literature Rifter Woodman Dill in #p. China literature Hilt Limit Comex LLIEMX KIFT Azilia Mage Tower. Meet no way. All want is chemical lab like Circiles, except little more spacious and bright. It is very troublesome to build tower like this. Tequila towers were built only because the land area of the city was small to have lots of open space here. That would not be fashionable blow anyway. The problems regarding the construction aren't difficult to solve aside from the facilities that have died due to other demands. No more if insist. With the current materials only one listening symbol be obtained most of course if fight the devil. Get more. What magic stone does it need? This remember this the last page seems to have written what is it. The way how was the result of your fighting capacity test at Gvelen's secret. She seemed to have been frustrated. Anna found it over here. Outfit UCET, GHSUTFMEU with used HSUTFZZE half. SHSITSFAEU Ebalorju, Subfiu high pulses sweeter buzz slits ZDC. Let me see. 4 required magic stones are all written as unknown, probably out of confidentiality considerations. The Quest Society didn't record them. The written form Slitzvsels VC Pfizer fucked. Helium ahem. These magic stones mostly come from the senior demons, and therefore even if they were written down no one would be able to obtain them. And yet display such precious object openly. The hall will be condemned. Ahaha had Puff. If the Transcendent find out they'll be so angry that they'll even come back to life. Because it's nothing precious thing, or probably as precious as few dozen kilograms of. Although sigil are created linking magic stones, the materials required to transmit magic power are very complicated. The most importantly is, it requires the blood of demons. What heard me right? It must be the blood of the living demons. When the Quest Society was figuring out the nature of magic power, finally it conducted thousands of experiments and eventually proved that the flesh and blood of witches, demons and demonic beasts are completely different nature, and their functions are also remarkably different. Kenneld. The flesh and blood of witches? What are their functions? To create God's punishment army. Mronjiranum using dead. No, just as with demon's blood, the flesh should be taken from living witch. This was the most important secret of the Quest Society. Not long after the experiment began left the stone tower of the holy city. The only thing new about the experiment was that it used the blood of weak and old witches, mixed it with God's stone of retaliation and injected it into the bodies of mortals to make mortals' body change source. Judging from the notebook found, this research must have succeeded. How much blood was needed? More than half. The blood must come from the same person, otherwise the magic powers contained it would reject each other and their effectiveness would greatly decrease, which died for every experiment, and mortals could barely survive the erosion of the weakened magic blood. The beginning no one could survive. Great number of society members objected to it because they believed that mortals could never gain magic power if not for the insistence of Chief Alice. This plan might not have been carried out fully. But now the church has huge God's punishment army. According to Till's information, there may be to God's punishment warriors. Suppose the success recorded. The notebook refers to the increase of the transformation rate to it means that least half of the witches had been killed, and Leo don't think those people forecatted. So the church arrested and raised witches so that they could drain their blood and create powerful, extraordinary warriors. Hundreds of witches with all kinds of magic powers died the holy city of Herms for no reason. And they were branded as the fallen and were loathed. The public Finiald Nightingale Such ignorant organization must be destroyed, even if its original intention was to fight against. The demons, rest assured, stop them. Mimic nightingale, go wash now. Oh, gosh. What do you see? A nightingale are actually that natural science theoretical foundation Wendy. Mamayakom, the bath towel fell off That a nightingale, this is love sometimes quarrel, but when think about it. It's nothing serious, sleep on it and feel better afterward. What are you talking about? And His Highness fighting is only temporary, so don't take it seriously, would quarrel with him. Didn't then or all of a sudden silken? Well, at Cajulum nightingale don't intend to what? Pick fight with the church myself, not that silly if they were so fragile that they could be overturned, which someone else would have done it long ago. The ultimate goal of creating the gods' punishment army is to strengthen the church. If there are extraordinary ones among the witches the church raised, they won't have to give blood. Even escaping into the mist won't guarantee safety when facing witches loyal to the church. When we wage war against the church, the safest strategy is to push forward step following the firearms of the first army. Whatever the enemies are, they are no different. Front of bullets give said that the new world witches will be able to live normal life without restrictions, just like ordinary people do. Sure, do it all GXQ Gelum, therefore just feel need to become stronger to help more future battles to overthrow the church. Didn't expect that the church built monasteries to obtain witches' blood if it weren't for ashes who had suddenly awakened as extraordinary and drew all the guards' attention. Afraid would have been among the fortunately other corpses. The church nightingale is right. Perhaps the environment, the castle is so relaxing that give let guard down. Mansa speak calm. But the enemies were very close. Whether it's from the church or demons, their threats weren't completely eliminated compared to those sisters who study hard too. Lacks your right need to study hard as well. Starting from today, I like the other sisters spend hour every night studying the knowledge of your Highness before going bed. Let's study together, okay all?